Double K is a manufacturer of premium diving equipment in Korea, a vibrant and creative country. At Double K, we focus on constant research to develop innovative and comfortable products to enhance the experience of diving for our customers. We take pride in our cutting-edge and stylish designs, providing a sleek yet professional look whether you're in or out of the water. From wetsuits to fins, masks to equalization tools, Double K has all the freediving accessories you will need. Fall in love with your diving with Double K.
Atmos, inspired by the ocean. Location, speed, direction, altitude, atmosphere. Mission 2 is more than a watch. It follows you wherever you go. On the journey to ageless energy. We won't fear the unknown challenges. We won't hold back our curiosity. Your pulse, your tracks, your wake, the direction and achievement in your life. Distance and breath, merging with the ocean flow, our sweat cleansed in the currents. The world gets darker as we descend deeper. But your light will shine through the depth. A variety of color options. Each Mission 2 embodies your personality.
Welcome to day 4 of the AIDA World Championships here in Roatan, Honduras. My name is Brandon. I am a freediving instructor, a breath training coach, and I'm here to lead us through all of today's action. It's going to be a really good one today. We've got some awesome dives, got some deep dives. Should be a lot of fun. As always, our normal weather report from me, your boy Brandon. Conditions, once again, beautiful as always. Water again, 29, 30 degrees. Visibility, 30 degrees Celsius. Sunny today. Awesome today. No current. Should be a good one. Let's see. Cool. Let's start off by taking a look at who is diving today. We've got some pretty deep divers. We've got some pretty deep challenges for depth. Give us one moment here. For those that don't know, we are doing free immersion today. Free immersion is a discipline where it's the only discipline that you are able to pull yourself down the line. It's a discipline where, again, as always, the diver wants to be as tucked in and as tight as possible, as streamlined as possible, while also conserving as much energy as they can.
Raz.
Okay, testing 1, 2. Better? You guys let me know in the chat. Cool, hello. Welcome to day 4 of the AIDA World Championships here in Roatan, Honduras. I'm just going to say the same thing I just said. My name is Brandon Reed. I'm a freediving instructor, a breath training coach. I'll be leading us through the action today for the men's free immersion day. Weather conditions beautiful as they have always been. Conditions 30 degrees Celsius in the water, nice and warm, visibility 30 meters plus, no current, nice and sunny. Should be absolutely fantastic. Hi Jennifer, how's it going? Good to see you in the chat. Okay, so to start off our day today with free immersion, we have Sydney Regis of France. He has announced a 84-meter dive, and as you can see, we are doing free immersion once again. Yesterday we had the women go for free immersion, today we have the men. Free immersion is the only discipline where you are allowed to pull on the line.
20, down.
And as you can see, that is what we are doing here. A diver is also allowed to kick and to do arm movements if they would like,
30, down.
but generally it's more efficient to pull yourself up and down the line.
Down.
Sydney's giving us an example of the technique for free fall here. We see a nice tucked in position. Sydney does something a little different that we don't normally see, where he puts his hands on the middle of his thighs, slightly bending his legs up from his hips.
60, down.
This is still a pretty good technique. It's tucked in, and as we spoke with Christian Meldam yesterday, his coach, who we saw in the blue shirt,
70, down.
Sydney does this because at depth you can be prone to squeezing, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's basically a pressure-related injury in your lung or in your throat.
Touchdown. It's coming up.
And so what Sydney will do is keep himself a bit more hunched over to keep that airspace nice and relaxed and nice and small, rather than opening up, which is so one of the things that can lead to a lung squeeze. We're seeing nice pulls here. Some divers will opt to pull all the way down, fully extending the arm. Other divers will not. Generally, you do lose a bit of strength at the end of that arm pull. So some divers, as we see Sydney here, will opt to keep the majority of the strength of the movement going and then stop once that momentum or that movement no longer becomes as efficient. And then at that point he reloads his arm and moves on to the next arm pull. Something that you'll also notice is that we have a safety with a scooter.
20, up.
Divers who are diving below 80 meters also get a scooter to meet them at 40 meters of depth, 40, 45. And that is what we see here today.
Diver approaching.
Grabbing up nice and high in the line, nose clip off. Diver needs to show a surface protocol on the surface for the dive to be marked as a white card. And we saw that here. Sydney removed his facial equipment. He gave an OK sign and verbally said OK towards the judges on the platform and in the water. So we are now waiting to see what the result is. And that is a white card for Sydney. Beautiful dive, nicely done. So 84 meters.
We are going 88.
White card. Very nicely done, Sydney. Oof. Sorry about that. There we see Christian with Sydney. We'll probably be hearing from Christian later on today.
Humor is correct.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. You can see some of our judges are in the water, judges' assistants are in the water with the green shirts. And then our main judges for the event are in yellow shirts. Here we can see our start list for today. 2 national record attempts. One from Alejandro Linas of Colombia and one from Jordan Alvarez Levia of Cuba. And we also saw the 3 divers going for the podium. Jeku of Chinese Taipei, Abdel Latif Al-Wash of France in silver, and Walid Boudiaf of Tunisia going for gold. Up next we have Victor Corson representing Australia, attempting an 88-meter dive with an announced dive time of 2 minutes and 35 seconds. And they're off on the dry platform. We have Michael Ko of Chinese Taipei getting ready, attaching his lanyard with his sweet, sweet floating neck pillow. So you can see Victor's here doing what's called a breathe up, or having his relaxation phase, as we generally call it now. We can see him also holding on to the line with his toe. That is something that divers have the ability to do in free immersion and also in constant weight, especially while they're breathing up. Just sort of keep them on the line, supported, nice and close.
3 minutes.
We'll also see divers hold on to the line as they come up after their dive as a way to sort of support themselves from dipping below the surface if there's ever an issue. So Victor's here relaxing. Each diver is different, and each diver has something that they do differently during their relaxation phase. Some divers will opt to do a body scan, which is a technique by which you begin by scanning your toes, relaxing them, scanning each one, looking for any tension that you might be holding, then moving up over the balls of your feet, to the arches of your feet, and to the heels of your feet. And then as you continue to move up your legs and over your torso and up your arms, continuing to relax until finally you've relaxed your whole body, your heart rate has decreased, and your mind is nice and calm, and you've killed some time too. Divers have 5 minutes on the line to breathe up before their official top. And for some divers that is a very long time. I am one of those divers. I really do not like the 5 minute chunk of time you need to sit there. So I myself will do all kinds of like mindfulness or send my brain out to do other stuff things while I'm just laying on the line. Other divers will try focusing on their breathing. Other divers will think of their loved ones or any fond memories. Basically what divers are trying to do during this relaxation phase is relax their mind and slow down their heart rate. What divers used to do during this time, and is why we call it a breathe up, is they used to hyperventilate. And for anybody who has taken a freediving course knows we do not hyperventilate. And I'll go over why we don't do that a little bit later. We'll give you a little bit of the science behind freediving and what you're actually doing when you hyperventilate, because you are definitely not adding massive amounts of oxygen into your body. Hi Jeff, that's a good question. Are some of the divers wearing ordinary swim goggles and just filling them with water instead of using fluid goggles? Yeah, some of them do. Fluid goggles can be expensive. Primarily, or one of the reasons why divers will use fluid goggles is because when there's a thermocline, the switch from the warmer water to the cold water can feel very uncomfortable on the eyes. And so even if they're not necessarily even opening their eyes or looking around very much, having that sort of warmer layer of water around the eyes means that it's not as shocking and doesn't make you lose your mouthfeel or lose your relaxation nearly as fast. So we will see some divers who are wearing proper fluid goggles, with those being the ones that have the special lenses on them that actually make it so that you can see better underwater. They're basically like underwater glasses that also work with water inside of them. And others will just wear normal swim goggles that they fill with water.
Down.
And just to note, excuse me, divers need to flood their goggles if they have no way to blow air into them, because if they don't, that is an airspace that cannot be equalized. And as you go deeper and deeper, for those that have dived before, they know that the airspaces decrease in size and get smaller and smaller and smaller. That's why if you dive down and don't equalize your ears, they feel uncomfortable. The same thing can happen to your eyes, where the pressure increases and increases and basically feels like your eyes are getting sucked out of your head a little bit. And it can cause all the blood vessels to burst around your eyes and even on your eyes. And so to avoid that, and to avoid looking like you got punched in the face, divers will fill their goggles with fluid, with water, so that they don't have to equalize it. Because water is non-compressible.
80 down. Touchdown.
Okay.
Coming up.
Picture is touchdown, grabbed the tag, put it in his hood, and now he is coming up.
80 up.
You see nice strong pulls at the bottom.
Up. 60 up.
Free immersion is one of those disciplines that really lets you get into a rhythm.
50 up.
It's very easy to, at least for me, I find, to sort of find myself just going pull, glide, pull, glide, pull, glide. And mentally it's very, I guess, soothing in a way to be able to sort of relax into that movement. Something that's also kind of fun is, well, fun in some instances and not fun in others, The line is bobbing up and down in the waves as well. Whoop, so we have a blackout underwater at maybe 2 or 3 meters. The safeties are going to remove his facial equipment. They're going to blow across his face, and they are going to call his name and tell him to breathe. This is something that is fairly common. And you see another one of the safeties giving rescue breaths there. He will come back pretty quickly. When we see a blackout like that, we first saw a little bit of sort of bouncing and movement. That's what we call a samba. Samba is basically a loss of motor control, and it's the point between when you are conscious and when you are going unconscious. So it's basically sort of why you see like a little bit of the bouncing and the jumping around. We also saw some bubbles escape his mouth. And all of that is sort of the process of the body shutting down and clamping down. You see he is already back up, being seen by the by our medical team. Again, this is something that can happen, and it's not so when we normally think of a blackout, we think of, like in sports, we think of being knocked out, like by a punch or something. And that is definitely not what is happening here. That in boxing or in fighting is a traumatic brain injury where the brain basically gets bounced around inside the skull. And the brain doesn't like that. So it sort of shuts off for a second or two. With freediving, this kind of thing is the next step that happens for a diver to try and conserve oxygen for the brain. So the body basically, the brain turns the body off, allowing the body to conserve oxygen for the heart and for the mind. Yeah, Morgan, he will be absolutely fine. He has a rest day tomorrow because the women are going for constant weight no fins, and he will be back again the next day. There are some regulations and rules within AIDA that say, depending on what depth you black out at, there is a recovery time that you need to take. But Victor was well above that, so we will see him for sure on Constant Weight No Fins Day if he decides to do Constant Weight No Fins. And he's back here now breathing oxygen, totally fine, looking good. The oxygen is just a precaution. Again, since he also did an 88-meter dive that is quite deep, so he probably would have been back here anyway breathing oxygen. Anyway. If you guys have any questions, please do feel free to post them in the chat. I am in there, I am watching. And I'm happy to answer the questions that you have. Up next we have Michael Ko of Chinese Taipei. He has announced 91 meters, which I believe, let's see, might be, let me quickly check something here. Checking all of my notes, all of my things. Okay, yes, so this is 1 meter deeper than what he did at the Vertical Blue Comp about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. He announced and performed a 90-meter free immersion dive there. And he's announced 1 meter deeper here, so we'll be looking forward to seeing how he does.
2 minutes to look up.
Hi Morgan, that's a good question. Morgan asks, in your opinion, is it possible to go to about 80 without packing? For most people, no. There are definitely people who can. Part of what packing allows you to do is add more air into your lungs, which means you can take your mouth filled deeper, which means you can use that air deeper. Now what you can do instead is, if you don't want to pack, you can work on your your thoracic cage flexibility. So all the muscles around your ribs, your intercostals, your back, your chest, you can even work on the flexibility of your sternum. All of those things will allow you to take a final breath on the surface without packing. The other thing that it will let you do is take your mouthfeel at a deeper depth as well. It basically reduces your overall residual volume. Residual volume is the measurement of of air in your lungs that is basically, it's there after you have forced all of the air out of your lungs. So if you blow all the air out and you hold your breath for a second or two, that is what residual volume feels like. And you can get to that at around 40-ish meters, again depending on your thoracic cage flexibility and if you pack. So I would say for many people it is not possible to get to 80 without packing, but I would also say that that's not a blanket statement. There are people who can, and you can get to that point by increasing your thoracic cage flexibility.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Daniel, that's a good question, and I will answer that in a moment. Theo, your question, what's the point of having goggles with water in it? Why don't divers dive without? Some don't like opening their eyes underwater. Some find it uncomfortable, some find it a little nerve-wracking. With the water temperature changing, again, as I said before, especially with thermoclines, it can feel very uncomfortable to open your eyes. Some divers like to watch the line in front of them. They just don't like the water on their eyes. The cool thing is that each diver has the opportunity to dive how they want, and as long as it doesn't break the rules set by AIDA, they can go for it. Michael here in a nice free fall position with his arms behind him, keeping a nice line from the top of his head down to the tips of his toes. You can see him also pointing his toes as well. Looking really relaxed. You can even see him keeping his toes together. We often see divers who their legs are relaxed and very far apart. You can see Michael is making a conscious effort to keep his legs together. As we say, there's always sort of a trade-off between keeping that streamlined position and also maintaining relaxation. It is not natural to keep our legs that close together, so he is contracting his leg muscles to do that. Here you see nice small pulls and then slowly opening up, checking the tag on his wrist to make sure that it doesn't come off. We will see some divers who will stick the tag in their hood. Other divers will stick it to Velcro on their wrist. The tag itself is made of the fluffy part of Velcro, the fluffy side of Velcro, and then all divers have to do is put the rough side with the little hooks on it onto a wristband, or glue a piece onto their leg or their thigh or onto the back of their neck. And then all they have to do is just slap the thing wherever they put that Velcro,
diver with safety,
and then go. Especially in free immersion, you generally don't want to hold on to the tag for obvious reasons. It's very easy to lose that tag if you are also using your hands to grab the line.
20, up.
Got a little splash. Victor is back in the water, doing fine. and we'll see him very soon. Michael grabbing nice and high. His coach Dean Cipollina coaching him. You can see underwater. Well, nope. Well, we can see him climbing the entire thing. Keeping nice and high, nice and strong. Very easy dive for Michael. So that is a white card. Beautiful dive, making it look easy. I feel like I say that a lot. But that's because it's true. I mean, these divers have been working and practicing so much to refine their technique. And as I always say, freediving is one of those sports where you can learn quite a bit very quickly, but then it can take a lifetime to fully perfect, and I am not even sure if people can fully perfect freediving, as the sport is so young and always changing as well. Okay, Danielle Barcera asked, is the mouthfill a different technique than Frenzel, or is it a complement? To me, how I explain it is that mouthfill is sort of an add-on to Frenzel once you get to a certain depth. Generally, as you're getting to around 35-40 meters, mouthfill allows you to equalize deeper. With the mouthfill technique, what you are doing is basically moving air from your lungs up into your oral cavity, and then you are closing off your glottis and keeping it there. And in that way, you have more air that you've refilled this airspace in your mouth. You can continue to use deeper and deeper and deeper. In the beginning of a mouthfill, you are not actually able to put your tongue up to the roof of your mouth like you would normally do with a Frenzel. For those of you that don't know, Frenzel is a equalization technique where you basically close off your glottis, raise and lower the larynx, and you then pump that air up into your nasal cavity, into your sinuses, and then that opens up your eustachian tubes and you equalize your middle ear. For mouthfill, if you take a really good one and a really full one, you will not actually be able to put your tongue up against the roof of your mouth. And you can try this at home. So if you pinch your nose and go, and then you wiggle your tongue around in your mouth, you shouldn't actually be able to touch the roof of your mouth with it. If you can, that means you can add even more air into your mouth. And obviously you need to make sure you pinch your nose while you do this, because otherwise the air will just escape through your nose. So for mouthfill, what you do, sorry about the splash, what you do is you pinch your cheeks first and you sort of smile like this. And doing that, excuse me, will allow you to equalize your ears without actually using your tongue. And remember, as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, that airspace continues to get smaller and smaller and smaller. Not because you are losing the air necessarily, but because as you go deeper and deeper, the pressure increases and that gas compresses. So as you go deeper, the mouthfill gets smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually you can put the tongue up against the roof of the mouth, against the back of the teeth, go to your T-lock, then go to your K-lock, and then your soft palate lock. Equalizing, 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 and then eventually you run out of the mouthfill, and then you turn around because you can no longer equalize. So, that is I believe, a very long answer to your question of, is mouthfill a different technique than Frenzel, or is it a complement? I would say it's sort of an additional thing that you add on after you get past a certain depth. Let's see. Sofina, they absolutely do not get pure oxygen before diving. This is breathing ambient air, which consists of 21% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, and 1% of other gases. The world's longest breath holds, and a lot of the actors and actresses that you hear about doing long breath holds on movie sets, they are breathing pure oxygen. For example, the world record set by Budimir Buda Sorbat of Croatia has the world record set at 24 minutes and 40-something seconds, breathing pure oxygen. The world record on regular ambient air is 11:35, set by Stefan Misfund of France. So these divers are not breathing pure oxygen at all, they're just breathing ambient air, and they are still doing 3-minute dives. So think about that, and think about how awesome that is. Definitely really, really cool. Let's see. Okay. So Benjamin Zions has not started today. Perfect time to talk about how athletes announce their dive performances. So during competitions, divers announce their performance the night before. There we can see there. Divers announce what they're going to dive the night before. Then what happens is they have basically a full day to sit and relax before their dive attempt. A lot of stuff can happen in that time. Sometimes they're just not feeling well. Other times, they wake up and they're like, actually, I'm not feeling it today. I don't want to. And then they don't have to dive. But as I always say, if you're going to go to a competition, it's better to always announce something and then get a DNS than it is to not announce something and then wake up on the day and regret not having announced something. Cool. Let's see. What other questions do you guys have for me? Let's see. Taking a look. Yes, huge props to the safety team working very hard, making sure that our divers are nice and safe. Let's see, we see Michael playing rock, paper, scissors with us at home. He is breathing pure oxygen at the moment, and he is doing that now, not before his dive, but after. He is doing that as a way to help remove a lot of the nitrogen out of his bloodstream. As you go deeper in the water, the concentration of gases will actually increase, giving the love.
Did you share? Did you show the flash?
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate you, bro. The gases are getting compressed as you go deeper and deeper, and therefore they go more and more quickly into the bloodstream. This is what happens in scuba diving over a longer period of time, but because these divers are diving to such a deep depth, and because they are packing, there is more nitrogen being pumped into their bloodstream, and CO2 to some degree, at depth. And so divers will breathe pure oxygen basically to switch up the composition of the gases, because gases always want to flow from a high concentration to a low concentration. So with oxygen, there's a higher concentration that you are breathing in through your lungs, so that wants to go into your blood. For the nitrogen in your blood, there is, because you're breathing pure oxygen, there's no nitrogen in the lungs. So that then pulls the nitrogen out of the lungs, or out of the blood into the lungs, which you then exhale. So it allows the diver to recover more quickly and reduce any of the sensations of fatigue, or even some signs of bending that you might be receiving from having that high level of nitrogen. So that's why we see our divers breathing pure oxygen after their dives, not before. Before their dives, if they were breathing that, they would be disqualified. Let's see. Jonathan, hey, good to see you, Jonathan. Asks, are there records for dives on pure oxygen? There are Guinness World Records, but there are no actual dives, or no actual records within any of the certifying bodies for pure oxygen. It's not something that we have. How can they get deep so fast? Part of that is, again, the compression of the gases in their body, in their lungs. As we get smaller and smaller, our buoyancy actually, or as our lungs get smaller and smaller, the buoyancy decreases. And so on the surface, you'll see divers pulling very hard to get down past what's called positive buoyancy, where you want to float back up onto the surface. After a certain point, they reach neutral buoyancy, where if they were to stop pulling or stop kicking, they would actually float there at that level, neither sinking or floating. Past that, you get to negative buoyancy, where basically you begin the free fall phase. And that's what we see a lot of our divers doing past 40 meters. And partially how they go so fast is because they have a lot of momentum from the surface. They're pulling, they're building that momentum and that speed, and then once they get to that negative buoyancy, they let go and they sort of very easily continue flying down in the water. Yeah, Jonathan, there are no records for dives on pure oxygen at all. Only Guinness World Records for pure oxygen, and I believe that's only on static. Yeah, I believe so. Thanks, guys. I appreciate all of your kind thoughts and comments.
5 minutes.
Okay, we see Rafael in the water, getting ready with 5 minutes until his official top begins. Charlotte Ritter asks, when do divers reach free fall? What does it depend on? It depends on many things. It depends on the thickness of their wetsuit. It depends on the amount of weight that they're bringing down with them. As we can see with Rafael, he's wearing a neck weight around his neck, which is filled with lead shot. Some divers will dive with a weight belt around their waist. It also depends on how big of a final breath they take in, how much packing they do. All of that will mess around with their buoyancy in the water, which then means they are positively buoyant for either a longer or shorter period of time, and therefore neutrally and negatively buoyant at different times as well. Generally, in this type of competition, you will see divers beginning to free fall, big general, around 40 meters. Some will start their free fall deeper at around 50. Some divers even pull to 60. Other divers will begin their free fall at around 30, depending again on how their weighting is. And if you don't know how to figure out your weighting correctly, you should go take a freediving course. Freediving courses are the best way for you to stay safe while diving, teach you all the ways to be safe, all different kinds of safety things. You get to work with an instructor who knows how to correct your technique and your form and make sure you're doing it safely. You get to meet friends who are also diving. And you also get to learn all the physiology, and a lot of stuff that I'm talking about here on stream will be covered again in the course, although what I'm saying is no reason to not go to a freediving course. You are not getting a certification here. This is all for educational purposes. Oh, thanks, fam. Magdalena's in the chat. Good to see you. Magdalena is an absolute beast of a freediver. You should definitely go check her out. Hope you're doing well, Magdalena. Looking forward to seeing you at hopefully next year's pool comps. Should be a good time. Wasim asks, could a new discipline get introduced by AIDA in the future using pure oxygen? Never say never. I would suspect probably not. Really, what's stopping, especially for depth, what's stopping a lot of athletes is the ability to equalize, not the amount of oxygen in their body. The other thing is if they were breathing pure oxygen, as you go down deeper and deeper, every 10 meters, the concentration of the gas, basically, it's always increasing. And as such, it's flowing into your body faster and faster and faster. And you can get high off of oxygen, very, very high. And it would probably even be incredibly dangerous to breathe pure oxygen at any sort of depth. I've never done any kind of scuba diving, so I don't maybe know that for sure, but I would venture a guess that it is incredibly dangerous. So I don't think they would. Let's see. They are diving without fins today because we are doing the free immersion discipline. Free immersion is one of the disciplines where you pull yourself down the line rather than kicking or swimming. Tomorrow we will see constant weight no fins for women. And tomorrow they will not be grabbing the line at all. They will only be doing basically, essentially a modified breaststroke technique down and back up again.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Francois, I will answer your question momentarily.
3, 4, 5, 6,
And I am joined by Michael Coe now.
9.
Hello.
Hello.
Congratulations. We're just about to sit down and watch Rafal's dive to 96 meters. Rafal of Poland.
96. Good number. I
Good
like
number.
this
Good number, deep number.
Side, 334, 334.
Yeah, Rafal is very tall, and so his movements are much more slow, but very powerful nonetheless.
20, down.
Already at 20 meters and keeping up with 1 meter per second, which is a good time for this discipline.
Yes, you really get the height advantage
Yes.
from free immersion. If you got a long arms, you have like just, fewer strokes.
Right.
Pull, yeah.
Definitely.
40, down. 45.
If like in the future, maybe like a decade later,
50, down.
I think free diving will probably sort division with height instead of weight. That's what I'm
okay.
thinking. Because if you are like 2 meters tall, then 100 meters is only 20 times of your height.
Sure.
But
Fair.
if you are just 150, then it's it's relatively longer.
Sure, that's true.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see. The sport is so new at the moment. And I mean, things that we were doing 10 years ago, 7 years ago even, like hyperventilating on the line,
80, down.
indiscriminately hyperventilating.
Yes.
Those are things that we no longer do, and we also know are incredibly dangerous to do and make the sport
Yes.
incredibly unsafe.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to look back at this time 5 years from now and look at what kind of weird stuff we were doing and be like, oh my god, I can't believe they were doing that. That's so stupid. Why would they do it like that? Or looking at someone's technique and being like, wow, I can't believe they were doing that when really, the new technique is to curl up like a ball and just let yourself drop. Like,
Totally.
we'll see what the future holds for freediving, but
Yes.
Yeah.
Something we think it's something we should really do now. It's probably something we laughed at in the future.
Exactly. Well, it's nice too because there are so many people who are out there doing research into freediving now. Not only like the physiology of
60, up.
of what's going on in the body, but also how to train better for it, the ergonomics of it, the technique of it. There we go.
50, up.
I mean, no warm up is a big thing. That was
Right.
something more recent.
Yeah. A lot of divers have switched to doing no warm up now.
40,
Yeah.
up. Diver with safety.
Including myself. I really enjoy it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I want to ask you about that in a second because that's something interesting.
30, up.
Okay, coming up. Super strong.
Yeah, still looking totally fresh. These nice long arm pulls, again using that full arm length advantage.
20, up.
Probably have like a 2 meters arms.
Yeah, man. Ah, but he's having to work for it though. I mean, because he's tall, he also has to pull all of that body mass along with him.
And he got a really good dive time. It's really close to his AP. Looking good. Pink lips.
Oh, okay. Yeah, one of the things that a diver needs to do before the 15-second time frame is up from when they come up is complete their surface protocol, which again is the removing facial equipment, giving the okay sign, and saying I'm okay. So that's a white card.
Congrats.
Rafa. Beautiful dive.
Smiling. Big smile.
Big smiles.
Yes.
Gotta love it. Very nice dive, Rafa. Congratulations. Making it look easy.
Yeah, for sure.
Whoa. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about why one would want to do a warm-up and one wouldn't want to do a warm-up. Why do divers, why have some divers switched to not doing a warm-up now?
I think mostly the biggest reason is definitely the MDR, mammalian dive response.
Yep.
And you definitely will have the strongest if that's your first dive. And if you even just do one warm-up dive and all that, you could easily activate it first.
Right.
Which later on it's not as strong as the no warm-up dive.
Right, that's right. Yeah, so the MDR is a group of responses that our body has to being submerged in water. Our heart rate decreases, the blood moves away from our fingers and our extremities to our core. That blood will then engorge all of the tissue around our lungs and inside of our body. And our spleen will also eject some oxygenated blood into the bloodstream as well.
Yes.
So all of those responses are beneficial to freedivers because we want to conserve oxygen for as long as possible. And like you said, turning on the dive response allows us to basically stay underwater for longer.
Yes.
But as you said as well, the more times you sort of submerge your face in the water, the more, I guess, dull that response becomes.
Yes.
Whereas the first time you do it, it basically just shocks the system.
Yes.
You're
It'd
just
be
like,
oh, he's
awake.
doing breath hold now. I need to activate this.
I need to get this body in survival mode.
Yes.
So, right, and a lot of divers will go for a no warm-up because their best breath hold, their best performance will be on that first dive.
Yes.
Why would somebody want to do warm-ups instead?
There are many reasons for warming up. So one of them is definitely mentally, you're getting more prepared. I was just talking to Enchante last night.
Yeah.
And I mean, having a good hang before you dive really gives you into that mood of breath holding. You feel relaxed, you feel chill. I mean, I have my most amazing moments in hangs. So, you know, to get into a good mood and having your body to be ready, it's also a way to do. And also, having a warm-up actually, for many people, will extend the contraction. Like, it will come later. So, for people who want to get more comfortable, then they could do some warm-ups.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. And then something for me too. I always find that when I do a warm-up or two, the dive itself feels much more gentle.
Yes.
Like everything, like the dive feels easier. It feels more relaxed. But that might also be just from a mental headspace more than actually being the physiological response.
But it's important in freediving to have.
Exactly.
So, for some people, it's just better to do a warm-up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, that's why, you know, here we have warm-up buoys back behind us, ready for divers to use if they would like. And if divers don't want to, they can keep their face out of the water and swim to the dry platform and just hang out there until they're OT.
Yes.
Which is, you know, something really cool about this sport is that there's no one sort of prescription on how to dive. There are obviously like disciplines that you need to sort of maintain and follow, but you know, no one's telling you that you need to breathe up with a pool noodle between your legs, with your head out of the water.
Snorkel.
Yeah, you can
lying
do
down.
whatever you want. You can, yeah, have a snorkel in. You can put your face in the water. You can lay with your face up into the sky. Like, it's awesome. And it's all about what works best for you as an athlete and what makes you feel the most relaxed.
Yes, relaxation is still the key for freediving. So anything that makes you more relaxed is the priority.
Completely.
And now we have Alex.
We have Alex Linas of Colombia attempting a 100-meter dive, a national record attempt. Current record set by John Munoz at 89 meters, so this is 11 meters deeper than what the previous national record is.
Wow. That's a big jump.
Sorry, it's not previous yet, but hopefully it will be.
Yes, and I believe this is his personal best as well.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So we will see. And he has been doing really well in the training. Personal best after personal best, and I believe he's ready.
Awesome.
And we will see.
Yeah, he's been working very hard over the last few weeks. I believe he's been here for the last few weeks.
Yes.
Training.
Yes.
Preparing, getting comfortable in the with the dive setup, with all the conditions. Not that the conditions need to be like gotten used to, really. I mean, the conditions here are absolutely phenomenal for diving.
I really love this place, you know. And I haven't met any currents yet. I don't think we have so far.
No, I mean, the most we've had is a little bit of current on the surface from wind.
Yes, and that's tiny.
It's so tiny. I mean, as soon as you go down under the water, there's nothing.
It's just your place. It's your playground, right?
Exactly.
I love it. And let's have a look.
Yeah, nice, strong, slow pulls.
Really steady.
Yeah.
Down.
Looking
The diver
relaxed.
is Alejandro
Yeah.
Linas, 100-meter dive. The dive time is 3:18. It's a national record attempt.
National record
40 down.
attempt.
Free fall at 35.
Yeah.
And ooh, big mouthfeel.
Big mouthfeel. And as we're watching him dive down, you guys can even look at home. We were talking about how you squeeze your cheeks for mouthfeel. You may even be able to see him gently squeezing his cheeks.
60 down.
That is if he is trying to create pressure to open his eustachian tubes. Other divers are able to do hands-free, where basically they can pull the muscle at the base of the eustachian tube open and just allow the air to flow freely from their oral and their nasal cavity up to their middle ear.
But not many people can do that.
Not many people can do that.
Yes.
There are a few blessed people who are
born with the skills.
born with the skill. You can teach it,
Yes, you can train for
but
sure.
it definitely takes a lot of work. I've been working on it for about a year now, and I can do it dry. I can click my ears open all day, but as soon as I get in the water below like 1.5 meters,
Yes.
it locks up, and I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
dang it.
And
90
really
up.
nice turn.
Yeah.
Really efficient turn.
Yeah,
Now
absolutely.
it's coming up.
Yeah, the efficiency of the turn at the bottom is something that is very overlooked, I think,
Yes.
by a lot of people. Especially at the depth that we're doing. Having an efficient turn not only conserves your momentum, but also keeps you safe.
Yes.
You don't want to be opening up at depth. Again, as we talked about before, the lungs are very small and compressed at that point, and opening up too quickly or too wide can cause an issue like a lung squeeze, which is basically blood being pulled from the tissue out into the lungs itself, which is not good.
And you don't even want to stay there longer, you know?
No.
You're just adding extra dive time for yourself.
40
Exactly.
up. Diver with safety.
Okay.
30
Still
up.
looking strong, and
Yeah.
look at his feet. He's actually closing it up to be more streamlined.
Exactly. Yeah, we were talking about that with your dive as well.
Yeah,
that
I
you keep your
intentionally
toes,
did that,
keep your
yes.
toes together. Yeah, do you find that you sort of use any extra energy keeping your legs nice and closed together, or is it more pretty much just relaxed for you now?
Tiny bit, but it's fine.
Okay, nice.
Okay, let's see.
All right,
Looking good.
looking good. A little blue, a little hypoxic,
Yeah,
but
he got that
Yeah.
threshold for really good
yeah,
toxic tolerance.
beautiful,
Beautiful.
dive.
And look at the dive time, perfect.
Yes.
Ooh. Really, really good efficiency.
So that is a new national record for Colombia. 100 meters. Got it up in the triple digits now.
Yeah.
Huge congratulations to Alex for that dive. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Welcome to the 100-meter club.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Love it.
I'm so happy for him.
He has been working very hard. He definitely deserves this national record.
Yes.
Awesome.
Just a super nice guy, you know?
Yeah, I had dinner with him the first night I was here. Super nice, super chill. Fortunately, I haven't had much of a chance to hang out with many of the athletes. I've been sort of stuck on this end of the island. But I don't know. Maybe tonight I'll come out and I'll go hang out with everybody and rub some shoulders, see how we're doing.
What's going on?
Yeah, sometimes divers will just like to be checked out by the medical staff just to be safe. I mean, 100 meters is quite a deep dive, and so just making sure everything is okay is always good, you know? Okay.
What do you have next?
Up next we have Nicolas Jacquin of France, attempting a 101 meter dive. I met Nick last year at the Seamaster World Championship, where I met you as well.
Oh.
Strong diver. As far as I recall, I believe he's added about 10 meters onto his diving. I think so. At least from the announcements that I remember. I could be totally wrong. I mean, over the last year or so, I've met a lot of divers. I've commented on a lot of divers. So
Yes. Countless.
I could absolutely be misremembering Nick's dive.
I mean, we had like probably 300, 400 free divers.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Nice. Yeah, so I could be misremembering, but I think he's added quite a few meters onto his dive since we last saw him. So it'll be awesome to see what we've got going on today.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go for a quick look at the questions in the chat.
All right.
3 minutes.
Did someone say 200 meter coming soon?
200 meter coming soon. We will see. That'd be kind of nuts. Hi Swan, how's it going? Swan asks, how many PB cakes have you guys had?
Oh. Not for me. I personally keep it clean for my diet, but I think many people enjoy it for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, for those of you who don't know at home, there's this thing in the freediving community where every time you get a new personal best, you have to go out and get cake.
Yes.
And so, a lot of divers will, have a good day. They'll go out, they'll go to the local cafe, get a cake, maybe get a little coffee, maybe a decaf coffee.
Yeah. No, people actually made their cake themselves.
Oh.
When I was in Dean's Blue Hole and training, they were making rum cake themselves. I was like, wow.
Love that.
You made your own PB cake. It was super tasty.
I mean, made with freedivers love,
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. There was another question that I saw earlier that I wanted to get back to that I've now forgotten. Okay, yes. Do divers have a memory of the moment they blacked out? Do they feel it coming, or is it a brutal phenomenon? You want to answer that?
Yes, as a experienced blackout. Actually, just kidding. Yes, I did had some blackout before, and I also asked people about their experience about the blackout. So the experience itself, actually, you don't feel anything. Some people tell me that they feel like they're dreaming. They wake up from a dream, and for me, most people just couldn't remember anything, and their last memory was probably when they are down there.
Yeah.
And the next moment you just wake up on the surface and be like, why is everyone touching me? And then you'll be like, oh, I black out.
Right. Sure. Yeah. I mean, we'll even see that on live streams where a diver will have a blackout underwater, and they'll come up, they'll be supported, and then they will give the okay sign. They'll say, I'm okay. And then they'll be surprised when they get a red card.
Yeah.
Because it does take a little bit of time for the brain to sort of catch back up to what's going on. For me personally, I also recently had a bit of an LMC, a bit of a samba, doing my static attempt in Serbia. And you're right. It's like, for me, it's like falling asleep. You're sort of just laying there, you're doing your thing, you're lucid, you're conscious, and then maybe you get a little sleepy, a little dreamy, things start to not quite make sense, but it's like you're dreaming, you're just sort of going along with the experience.
Yes.
And then,
it looks ugly, but it actually doesn't feel bad.
No, it actually doesn't feel bad at all.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, a lot of divers I've even talked to divers who have said that it's a very pleasant and enjoyable experience. Not that you want one, because it's a disqualification and it's also super dangerous, especially if you're doing it alone, which is why we never dive alone.
Yes.
But it's more traumatic for the people who are watching.
Yes, for sure.
Way more traumatic.
Or watching yourself
later. Right.
30 seconds. 330.
Okay. Now we have the dive.
All right. Nicholas is
101.
going. And we can see there's a little circular thing on top of his head. That is his dive computer. A lot of divers will not have a dive computer around their wrist because it's far away from their ears. And they have their own dive alarms set to let them know when they are getting close to the bottom or when to take a mouthfill, which we see right here nice and big.
50 down.
And divers are also not allowed to put any alarms on the official dive gauges that are given to you guys when you dive. So they basically need to bring their own.
60 down.
There's 0 alarms, nothing on the official gauge.
Right, that's right.
I mean, they should be like that.
Exactly. Because, I mean, again, each diver is different. An alarm at a certain depth might freak one person out, or it might make them think they're at a different depth. So we always leave it up to the athletes to actually set their own alarms.
90
Still
down.
nice.
Yeah, really nice free fall position here.
I believe still have some bit of air.
Yeah.
Definitely getting to the bottom.
And something to note too is the deeper you get, the less you need to equalize.
Yes.
Because again, while the air is also shrinking in your oral cavity, it's also shrinking in your middle ears, both more slowly. So as you get deeper and deeper down, on the surface you need to equalize every meter and a half-ish. As you go deeper, you can go to 1 every 2 meters, to 1 every 5 meters, to eventually at the very bottom at 100. You can get away with one equalization for 10 meters.
Yeah, or even more.
Yeah.
70
So, but obviously that depends on how deep you're diving, and again, as I always say, take a freediving course and you'll get all this stuff covered with you.
Oh, lo siento.
We can also see his ribs and his stomach look sucked in. That is because we are still beyond his residual volume. As we continue to have Nick come up, we should begin to see his his stomach and his diaphragm push out a little bit more as the air in his lungs begins to expand more rapidly.
I think some people actually intentionally do that. So to have a lighter contraction.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's also very true. Some divers will actually control their contractions by basically creating a counter contraction.
Yes.
Okay, slowing down quite a bit here, but
Dive time 3:30. Let's go.
okay, breathe, breathe. Ah, okay. Keep breathing. That's a very important thing to do, because even after you take your first few recovery breaths, you are not necessarily fully recovered. And so if you stop, you can even have a blackout after giving your surface protocol, being totally fine, and then
Yes.
having an LMC
it happens
dipping below.
actually.
Yeah, it does. We have seen it before. That is a white card for Nicholas. Very nicely done. Beautiful dive. Wow, wow, wee wow.
And up next, my friend
Yes.
Jay.
We have Jaku up next from Chinese Taipei. So we've got a boat coming very close to us. So we'll get a few waves here in a moment.
Glad it's at the before
Yeah.
diver gets in it. Or else it's when you're relaxing and just a big waves into your face and just,
Yeah.
it's quite annoying.
Totally.
Yeah.
Although on the other hand, with free immersion, I sometimes like waves on the surface because you can grab onto the line and then it'll pull you up.
Yes.
And then grab onto the line again, it'll pull you up. Or alternatively, if you don't have the timing right, you can pull and you won't go anywhere because we're going back down again. I find it a bit of a game when I'm doing free immersion. Yeah. Cool. So we're now getting up to the trophy range. Our top 3 announced performances are Jaku at 105, Abdelatif Al-Wash at 109, and Walid Boudiaf at 116.
Jay holds the continental record for free immersion. He broke 2 in vertical blue.
That's right, yeah. He has it set at the moment for 98 meters. Yeah?
No, this is an old one.
Oh, it's an old one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The new one, it should be 108.
Ah, okay.
I think. Yeah.
Ooh. We can quickly check the results from vertical blue. I have those pulled up on my phone.
Yes.
Let's see. Jaku. Where are you at?
He first had the 106 continental record.
Okay.
And the last day, he also broke another one.
Okay. Let's see. Where is he?
Thank you, guys.
Ah.
Let me have a look.
Yeah. We're checking our notes.
Yeah,
here.
108. Yeah.
108.
Yes.
Wow,
108.
I really screwed up. Sorry, Jaku. 108.
No. It's just the update with the AIDA website was slow.
Ah,
It literally
yes.
updated yesterday.
Ah,
that's why.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, then I know what I'm doing later on tonight when I get out of here.
Yes.
Updating all of my notes. Cool. Let's
This
see.
is well in his range.
Awesome. Alex, you want to come sit and join? Awesome. Cool. I'll scooch over so you can take the seat.
Oh.
Congrats, my friend.
Congrats to both of you. You guys have done huge dives today.
It was incredible, man.
Scooting behind you.
The best When I started this year, I never thought I would get to triple digits, and you know, all the training, all the work's paying off, and the EQ is finally clicking, and not having the EQ issues I had at first. But I'm just so pumped to get into triple digits,
for you, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when did you start diving?
I started diving in 2010. That's when I took my first course, but I was limited to teaching and the 40-meter range, and then started safetying in 2013 with vertical blue, and then just life kind of got in the way of being able to start my freediving career.
Sure.
I had like this idea of always doing it, but there was work, and then there was pandemic. I also got sick,
Right.
and I couldn't dive, so had all these false starts, and finally this last year I was going to do it, and then I got a really nice job working for a Black Panther movie, training the actors.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have to postpone it one more year.
You know.
And then
Exciting.
This is the year that I finally had the time to dedicate to freediving, and you know, really just blown by the progress and the community and the support of everyone.
Cool. Sorry, we have to keep it down a little bit because there are divers breathing up. Shh. Okay, so you worked a little bit on Black Panther, which is coming out, which, for those of you who don't know, who aren't huge comic book nerds, we are going down to Namor's realm underwater. And so we have the Wakandans against the... Ooh.
I have a non-disclosure agreement.
Yes, okay. Well, you can
say all you want, but I can't.
Okay. Well, you can go watch the trailer for it now. It's on YouTube. I'm absolutely thrilled about it. I have a friend who I know did some stunt work on it as well.
We'll have to talk about that. Jake is about to go.
Yes, yes.
Very cool.
Wow.
Okay.
Representing Taipei, 105.
He would like me to share how beautiful Taiwan is, and I mean, a place where he trained and he really enjoyed. So, you know, if you see closely, there's a meandering on his legs. That is actually the area where he's been training.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Do you guys live close to each other? You train together, or?
Yeah, we trained together when we were in Taiwan, and
Down.
like an hour drive, an hour and a half drive.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Beautiful.
I go visit him often. And
He pulls really deep, doesn't he?
Yeah.
yes, he likes to, you know, his strategy for free fall is actually when he feel like he's in a speed, then he will start free fall. So it's never the same. Actually.
Okay.
So he doesn't use alarms for his free fall?
I mean, he probably does, but he always go with his feelings.
Right.
He's really the kind of person who go with his flow.
I wish I was that fine-tuned.
I mean, yeah, it definitely takes some time to sort of figure out and go by feeling. And I think a lot of the times when we're training, we are necessarily not trained to actually listen to feelings. We're more used to training with alarms or with times or with depths. And it's definitely easier because we sort of can hit that repeatedly. But I think in some ways it makes us very reliant. And then in some ways that makes us less flexible.
Absolutely.
Like one of the ways that I train my static is I always use set departure tables. And I never actually have a time that I'm holding for. It's always flexible every single time, and my goal is to always just try and get as close to that interval as time as possible without having wild swings in time.
For dry?
For dry and for wet.
So you don't have your safety like tap you and...
I don't really like being tapped. They know that my training stuff is usually going to be it's always going to be within my limits.
Yeah, of course.
I'm never pushing to a horrifying degree where I'm within that limit or within that closeness of blacking out. And with dry training, especially, I'm always doing interval training, and that's safer to do at home, and especially alone.
Of course.
Doing dry training in bed is a very valid way of training for sure.
So, he's actually having a
It's got a really good
high
rhythm.
frequency.
Very good frequency.
It's a little bit different approach than what he does in
Yeah, not much glide in
vertical
the
blue.
pool.
Right.
And
And maybe we'll see that
shortening
change.
the stroke, not all the way to the bottom.
Right. Yeah, I know some divers will stop sort of halfway because as you get past that 90-degree bend in the elbow, you begin to lose a bit of efficiency with the pull. So some divers will opt to just cut it at that 90-degree area and reload, then sort of continue to try and push through.
All right, so with the 3 safeties now, looking really strong.
Yeah, getting some gliding in now.
He has such a good breath hold ability, so this is definitely well in his range, like the dive time. And now we will see.
340.
Okay, recovering.
Wow,
And
really
prioritizing
quick.
recovery first.
Yes.
Looking for the judges.
And
Trying to get turned around. Ooh.
we have the tag.
Not quite sure if he gave the okay sign.
No, I think he did. Just right in front of his chest.
Okay.
Yeah. Just the angle, you know, it's actually a thing.
Was he looking for the judges?
Maybe looking for the judges. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here.
The first time I ever tried a record attempt was after a vertical blue competition, and the judges did me a favor and kind of were there for me, but they were all dressed in just normal wetsuit with hoods and masks.
So you couldn't see that?
I came to the surface and someone was screaming.
No.
Okay, so
Wow.
it is a red card.
Was it the angle thing or is it?
We'll have to see. One of the things, I mean, huge dive for sure.
Incredible.
Kept his airways above the water. So one of the things that we can note is that all of the results that are displayed today, now on the live stream, are pending judges' review, especially for the top 3. Judges will review them and will give a final judgment on them. Athletes are then able to protest those results, any of the results from the day, if they would like, and then there's a protest process that happens, and then only the final results are released after that. So we'll have to see what happens here. We'll figure out why exactly he was given a red card.
Oh, maybe.
Did he not do the protocol?
No. They are testing with the DCS questions, which is like, what's your name?
Oh,
all
because
that.
he was a little confused at the surface.
Yes.
Okay. Well, hopefully.
So I was just told that
think he looks fine.
the time to give the protocol was not within the time. Divers take need to give the protocol within 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And it appears that he missed that time zone.
But the thing is, you know, you have 2 platforms, so it's like when you're
It's a little
maybe got up from narcosis or getting a bit of hypoxia, and then you look at, oh, there's a little platform there, there's a big platform behind you, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I try to spot the shape of the trimaran on my way up.
Right.
And orient myself towards the trimaran before coming to the surface. But I know sometimes you're just not all there
Right.
to do that.
Yeah, do you want to talk about narcosis a little bit and explain what narcosis is?
Well, I haven't honestly experienced it yet.
You haven't experienced narcosis
No,
at
I mean,
all?
I've heard beautiful things about it.
This
I've
is
heard awful
crazy.
things about it.
Wow, okay.
So I couldn't personally tell you what it feels like.
I had
but
so much. I had too much from narcosis, and I don't like it. It's a bad experience most of
It's
the
a bad
time.
experience for you, okay.
Yeah.
What does it feel like exactly for you?
So for people, you could actually feel tingling. You
Okay.
actually feel a bit numb, and that's not from hypoxia. I had that feelings after I turned. So it's like you have hallucinations. It's just it could be really bad. So it could be just one aspect is mentally, physically you feel that weird feeling, tingling feelings. Second, it could affect how you think mentally. So the worst narcosis is giving you negative thoughts during your ascent, which is bad. You know.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I had really bad before. Some people also experience that. Some people even feel like they're about to puke after they came up.
Wow, okay.
So it can be really, really bad.
Sure.
And there are just so many reasons behind that could trigger this narcosis thing.
Yeah.
Some people, in most cases, if you pack more, you generally have more narcosis because you have more air to compress into your blood.
Right.
And also it could be not having enough rest. So if I dive consecutively, I actually have more narcosis. And so all of that just, you know, it could
sort of compounds on itself.
And that's the thing about freediving. It's so new, and we still know really not much about narcosis. Right. Some people, like you just did 100. You don't have narcosis. I can't have narcosis at 80.
I have it at like 65.
Really?
So.
65.
But I've heard like the opposite, the flip side of the experience in narcosis from other divers, where they're like, they just feel it's incredible.
Yeah. Other divers love it.
Oh yeah, some
can
like Adam Sturm. I remember in the video he mentioned that he likes it. It feels a bit.
Alessia as well.
Yeah,
I think Thibaut likes it.
You feel just high and good and like. But I think it really does come down to the mindset you bring into the dive.
Yes.
If you enter into it feeling bad and feeling like uncomfortable, the narcosis will. Sorry, we gotta be quiet again. We have to. If you go into it with a positive mindset, you will find that it generally amplifies.
Yes, everything amplified. So positivity, you amplify. Negativity, you amplify.
Yeah.
Basically, narcosis just amplified everything.
I always make a point to smile as much as I can before I begin my dive.
Yeah, that's what I did today. So I have a good narcosis today.
And Thibaut actually gave me that tip. And I was like, Thibaut, what can I do? It's like, just smile, Alex. And I was like, okay.
Nice.
So, you know, you have the nose clip on and you smile and you feel like a goofball. And this is like, makes you even more smiley inside. So maybe that's why I haven't experienced
maybe. I mean, today, I talked to myself. I was like, you got this. This is your favorite discipline. Let's go.
Let's do this.
And that's what I said to myself. You watch the replay, my mouth is actually speaking something.
Nice. Okay, we have Abdelatif Alwash of France coming up next.
This guy's a monster.
Absolute beast of a human being.
He is so strong.
Fantastic diver, such a nice human being as well.
Yes, pleasure to train with, very encouraging, very helpful.
Yes, definitely a expert.
It's interesting to watch the frequency and the strength of the pulls between all the divers.
Yeah.
For me, like I try to go so slow at the beginning to try not to build tension at the start of the dive, but I've seen some people that just go for it to try to break through that buoyancy.
Right. Yeah, because at the top of the dive, you're trying to break positive buoyancy, but then as you go deeper and deeper, you become neutrally buoyant and then negatively buoyant. But you have to work quite hard to get through the positive buoyancy.
Yes.
There's the mouthful.
One more stroke at 50.
50 now.
His dives are really long.
And you know what he did right there is come with experience. You feel like you're not in the speed, so you add a little. It's not every time it's different because you could pack different on the surface every time. The amount of air that you packed in.
Right now he seems to be on clock at 1 meter per second.
Yeah.
To make the dive.
Perfectly on time.
80 now.
It's wild that he still has 20 meters to go.
I know.
Yeah, I'm like.
That's a really weird sensation.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's not at the bottom yet? Like, still have 10 more to go. And in free immersion, it's actually quite common to have your lanyard on your legs if you want to. It's, if you put it on your legs, really don't get bothered from it.
Touchdown.
Yeah, I've seen people definitely use either the waist harness like JQ did, the CNF belt, and then the legs. If you have it in your arms, you will get tangled. And
Right.
it just wouldn't be the best choice.
Yeah, definitely.
But I still met people who put it on their hand, literally.
Sure. I mean, for a long time, I used to do that as well. I mean, from a safety perspective, if you need to be pulled up by the lanyard, it's very efficient. It's very you're just sort of just flying. Whereas if you put it around your waist, you're just being pulled by your hips. And you're just starfishing. And then on your leg, it's still better than that, but your other leg is down, bent.
But imagine if you have the counter bolus system activate, you will be literally upside down and get pulled up.
Right.
Hopefully the nose clip stays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, rarely happens, but when it happens, you're upside down.
I've actually been to the last competition in Sharm. They disallowed to have belt belt lanyards
For free
all
immersion.
disciplines except for CNF.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
The reason is
safety
The
because
safety.
of the same thing. If the counterbalance gets deployed, then you'll be getting pulled by your center mass and starfish and creating all kinds of drag and
Right. Okay, Abdel is coming up. Important to note that on the Consummate Bifins Day, he got first place with 111 meters.
yeah.
Absolutely beastie dive.
This guy and Waleed are going to duke it out.
I
and,
know, it's gonna
cannot
be-
wait, yeah.
Battle to the finish for two of them.
And today he's actually faster than what he was planning to. So he announced 4:10, but looks like we're gonna get it less than 4. 3:55, 4.
Ah, so fresh.
So quick! Oh my god!
God,
That's incredible.
what 109 meter dive.
Funny faces. If you can enjoy your dive and make funny faces, you know, what's the point?
You got it figured out, you know. Oh,
Effortlessly.
beautiful dive.
The top for breathholding.
Yeah, I mean,
Freediving world.
these athletes are at the top of their game.
Easy.
So that is easy white card for Abdel. Making it look absolutely fantastic.
And I think he always gets really emotional after a
Yeah,
dive.
I love it.
I love
mean,
it.
It's beautiful.
So much love in freediving.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like freediving is such a, in a lot of ways, it's such a individual and unique sport where like what you feel is so internal and so unique to yourself. But then in other ways, you know, we've all had the experience of getting a new white card or a new personal best and it feeling so good and fantastic. So we all share in that sort of feeling and know how it feels for us.
The freediving community in general is very beautiful, very supportive. There's no way I could be where I am right now without the help of many people like Abdel, Waleed, Thibaut, all these amazing freedivers are always so willing to share their knowledge and experience, and it's really a beautiful thing, this type of competition. You know.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful. I always love coming to competitions. Sorry, getting our picture taken. I always love coming to competitions because of the environment that is always here. I mean, you meet so many amazing people. Everyone just is so giving with their time and their knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Like you would think they would want to keep the knowledge to themselves to
Right.
gain some sort of competitive advantage, and everybody willingly shares their tips and tries to help you overcome issues.
Everything,
and
yeah.
They will lend you their equipment, and you know everything is it's a beautiful thing about this sport, and very happy to be
Absolutely.
a part of this community.
Completely agree. Yeah, this is one of the best communities in the world, I think.
I think as well. I tried so many different sports, and this is really the sports that's super friendly. Even though, you know, the person you're talking to could be your biggest competitor, but so what? You just keep sharing.
Be happy for them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's so different.
We have a question.
Yeah.
Let's see, where did it go? What happens when you lose a tag on the way up?
I asked that question to a judge before, and it says it depends on how deep they lose it.
Okay.
If it's like if they can see the tag at the surface and it's like, you know, just get bumped up, that they might give the athlete the benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
But if an athlete came back with no tag, then there would be a penalty. But honestly, have not gotten there's only one person that I asked. I don't know the
Sure.
rule itself. Do
Okay.
you?
I believe the rules say that if you don't have a tag, it is a yellow card and you get 1 point knocked off.
Yes, that's correct.
We'll make sure about that rule just to be safe. But I believe that's what the rule officially says. And I don't know how much wiggle room they sort of have because if you to be fair, I've seen performances where someone has done their protocol, they're totally fine, they're up on the surface, they're looking for their tag, and they put their face in the water.
Oh no!
And to find the tag, hold it up.
That's the worst.
And then they're like,
worst.
but you put your face in the water, airways dipped, I have to DQ you.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules that sometimes, the slightest unintentional mistake, and
Yeah.
I almost disqualified my girlfriend yesterday.
Yes.
So.
Right. That's right, yeah, because you went to go after her face mask.
Yeah, she dove down with her face mask and it was floating up to the surface, but fortunately the rule states that it has to be a full immersion.
Yeah, right.
And my butt was still out of the water and I still had a noodle in my legs.
Thank goodness for that dong. Let's see, one more question here. Let's see, where did it go now?
Let me add a little fun fact about the yellow card thing.
Yeah, go for
it. If you don't have a tag, you get a yellow card. You cannot get the record, even though you dove
That's
to
right.
the-
Even if it was a record attempt and you completed the dive, that tag is one of the required pieces of that dive.
So it wouldn't count as national record, continental record, world record.
Yeah.
It doesn't count. But you still get that record. I mean, the record as
the placement of the points.
Yes.
And yeah, I believe that happened during a vertical blue where somebody dove during one of the days and Fatima, yes. Yeah, she when she dove past the bottom plate couldn't find a tag and then came back up on her 100-meter dive.
101.
101.
I think it was 101, right?
No, it's 100.
But she got 99 points.
That's right.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
She went to like 102.
Yeah, because she dropped it right past the plate.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay, that question. Do most athletes do mouthful with constant pressure or with pulses?
Oh, it really depends on the athlete. But what I will say is that at a certain meters, as you don't have to equalize so many times, so frequently, so you probably would have most of the people I would guess is pulses.
Okay.
I do constant pressure. I've tried both, and then took a EQ clinic with someone, and they told me that constant pressure was the way to go. And then I just was kind of like switching between so many techniques, stuck with one, and I've been doing constant pressure since.
Okay.
And it seems to be working.
Okay. Nice.
I love it too. I love constant pressure.
Nice. All right, we have Walid Boudiaf going for a 116-meter free immersion dive
For the gold medal.
for the gold medal.
Walid
Nuts.
speaks every language known to man.
And quite well.
Yeah. He's quarter Colombian. He has Colombian citizenship, so I get to pull for him. Actually, got a chance to train with Walid this winter in the pool in Colombia for a little bit with monofin.
How was it?
It was great. We had a fin swimming coach, and it was my first experience with monofin, so it was very useful. Walid is another human being that's always been super supportive of me and a great friend, and I've known him for a long time through safety competitions, and outstanding human being and incredible athlete. He takes the training approach with dry training as well, and a lot of pool training and gym, and a very complete training approach.
Yeah, I know he does a lot of flexibility training as well. A lot of his Instagram account is him doing stretching on his ankles and like all kinds of like crazy stuff. So yeah, make sure you're following Walid on Instagram. And following all of our divers on Instagram. I mean, you guys are always posting really cool stuff. You're always in different parts of the world, teaching courses as well. Like, yeah. We've got some pretty sweet divers here doing some pretty cool things.
And it's always, fortunately, most of the freediving destinations are beautiful places. So
Right, yeah.
Everybody thinks that we just travel to beautiful places because they're beautiful, but it's because of the diving conditions.
We're
and they
working.
happen to be beautiful.
Touchdown.
Yeah, Walid.
Nice efficient turn at the bottom. Keeping himself nice and tucked in.
110 up.
So,
Really strong pull.
And we see him flicking his wrist at the bottom as well, getting a little bit of extra force out of it.
Yeah, that's an interesting technique. I don't
90 up.
see that little flick.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of sports, they say you need to continue the movement all the way through. So, like when you kick a rugby ball, for example, you continue the kick all the way through, because otherwise, you sort of, if you're already stopping when you kick, you're losing momentum and strength.
Swimming is extremely important to finish your stroke all the way.
Right, exactly.
And the hand flick
the
is
flick at the end.
60 up.
Yeah. So I imagine that's what we're seeing here.
But I mean, the amplitude in the pull should make a difference.
50 up.
He's getting almost a couple of meters, or a meter and a half between each pull.
Right.
I guess this
40 up. Diver
either you have
safety.
high turnover and short amplitude, or lower turnover and
And high amplitude.
high
Yeah.
amplitude.
30
Again,
up.
every diver is different, so every diver gets to decide what is best for them.
It looks so relaxed.
Yeah.
He's really enjoying this. I love it.
20 up.
Dolphin kick in
Seeing a
there.
little bit of a kick in there as well, which he is allowed to do. If he really wanted to, he could switch to constant weight no fins.
People actually done that just for fun.
Yeah.
They announce a shallower dip and they do a.
Come on, Waleed.
Come on, you're almost there.
No, he's
Okay.
Okay.
he is narc.
Turn around, turn around.
Okay, service protocol
Nice.
done.
Look straight to the. Hold it, hold it. Let's go.
Okay, staying up nice and high.
Ooh, okay, he got it.
Good. It always makes me so nervous when athletes grab low on the line.
Yes.
I'm so guilty of it.
Stop it, you're giving me a heart attack.
Shaika almost gave me a heart attack yesterday.
Yeah.
She was hanging on there. I was like,
know.
on the loose. It was on the loose. I was like, no.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see.
Ooh,
We'll see.
perfect dive time. He got.
Nice.
He announced 3:45, 55, and he did exactly 3:55.
Amazing.
And
All right,
the
so
gold.
that is the gold.
Wow.
So, barring any issues, our podium is as follows. Waleed for gold, Abdel for silver, and Nicholas of France for third.
And we can. Jay could probably.
And Jay will
Pro
probably end up
test.
challenging.
Yes.
So third
will
place
see.
could change.
Yes.
We will have to see, but that will come a little bit later today.
Brandon, can I give a little quick shout out to my
Absolutely.
families watching me at home, and I know that we're really excited. Also, Shaika should be watching me at home, and all my friends in both the U.S. and Colombia. Thank you everyone for your support, and thank you for the support for my sponsors, Double K and Neptune Blades and Gilly Bags. Thank you very much. I wouldn't be here without them and without you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks to my family as well.
Yeah, go for it.
And also my girlfriend.
Of course.
She asked me to. Am I gonna say it? Okay. Yes, I love you.
Very nice. Beautiful.
Yes. Ichen.
Okay. Cool. All right, we will be back in a little bit. We have a roughly 30-minute camera break, and we'll be back around then. So be sure to stick around. Make sure you're following us on social media at AIDA Freediving, myself at Brandon Freediving. Right?
At Salty Freediver.
Yeah?
Yeah. MYKOKO, Michael Ko.
There we go. Make sure you're following our sponsors, Atmos, Double K, the Mayan Princess, and the Paradise Hotel. Yeah, we'll see you guys in about half an hour.
Thank you for having me, Brandon.
Such a pleasure. Thank you guys for coming. Bye, guys.
Double K is a manufacturer of premium diving equipment in Korea, a vibrant and creative country. At Double K, we focus on constant research to develop innovative and comfortable products to enhance the experience of diving for our customers. We take pride in our cutting-edge and stylish designs, providing a sleek yet professional look whether you're in or out of the water. From wetsuits to fins, masks to equalization tools, Double K has all the freediving accessories you will need. Fall in love with your diving with Double K.
Atmos, inspired by the ocean. Location, speed, direction, altitude, atmosphere. Mission 2 is more than a watch. It follows you wherever you go. On the journey to ageless energy. We won't fear the unknown challenges. We won't hold back our curiosity. Your pulse, your tracks, your wake, the direction and achievement in your life. Distance and breath, merging with the ocean flow, our sweat cleansed in the currents. The world gets darker as we descend deeper. But your light will shine through the depth. A variety of color options. Each Mission 2 embodies your personality.
Double K is a manufacturer of premium diving equipment in Korea, a vibrant and creative country. At Double K, we focus on constant research to develop innovative and comfortable products to enhance the experience of diving for our customers. We take pride in our cutting-edge and stylish designs, providing a sleek yet professional look whether you're in or out of the water. From wetsuits to fins, masks to equalization tools, Double K has all the freediving accessories you will need. Fall in love with your diving with Double K.
Atmos, inspired by the ocean. Location, speed, direction, altitude, atmosphere. Mission 2 is more than a watch. It follows you wherever you go. On the journey to ageless energy. We won't fear the unknown challenges. We won't hold back our curiosity. Your pulse, your tracks, your wake, the direction and achievement in your life. Distance and breath, merging with the ocean flow, our sweat cleansed in the currents. The world gets darker as we descend deeper. But your light will shine through the depth. A variety of color options. Each Mission 2 embodies your personality.
Welcome back. We are here on the dive platform for the 29th AIDA World Championships here in Roatan, Honduras. Today is day 4, which means we have the men's free immersion going on right now, and we are into part 2 of today's diving. We just had some amazing dives from Walid Boudihaf. We also had Abdelatif Al-Wash of France. Firstly, Walid just did a 116-meter free immersion dive, which, pending any review by the judges, should get him the gold medal for this discipline. Abdelatif Al-Wash of France with 109, and Nicolas Jacquin, also of France, with 101 meters for third. Moving on, we are going to be having some more divers going. We have Eddie Lafin, also of France, Jordan Alvarez Levia of Cuba, who will be attempting a national record of 76 meters. And we have a bunch of other fantastic divers coming up, so be sure to stick around and join us. The current French national record for free immersion stands at 117 meters, set by Thibaut Guignet of France.
Thibaut, good friend, very well known in the freediving community, just set up a dive school in Camotes in the Philippines. Camotes Freediving, I believe, so if you're ever in the area and you want to go dive with him, go check it out. He has a really nice setup there. Can't wait to go there myself and do a little bit of cheeky training with him. And official top has begun, which means the diver has 30 seconds to do any final preparations before beginning their dive. If they do not submerge their airways within that 30-second time zone, they are disqualified and counts as a did not start. There was a question in the chat a little bit earlier about why divers wear two dive computers, one around their wrist and one around their neck or in their hood. That is because one of the computers is an official dive gauge given to them by the judges for that one specific dive, and the other one is their own personal dive computer. A diver is not allowed to put any alarms on the official judge's gauge. So if they want to use their own, their own alarms, that's the word, thank you, sorry, they need to have their own dive computer. There we go. Okay, Eddie is entering free fall now. His cheeks are nice and puffed out with a big mouthful, which he will use to get him all the way down to 80 meters.
Down.
Please do feel free to spam your support for the athletes in the chat.
70 down.
Blast those flags. Let them know you're watching and cheering.
Touchdown. 1 minute 45. Coming up.
Bit of a slow turn on the bottom, shoving the tag into the hood.
70 up. 2 minutes. 60 up.
Something that we'll notice with free immersion is the rhythm that the divers will sort of get into. We can sometimes see divers' heads sort of move from side to side as their shoulders move up and down. You can see their legs gently sort of flowing
40 up.
behind
Diver
them.
with safety.
Personally, this is one of my favorite disciplines. This is my favorite depth discipline, and I really find that it's most fun for me because I can get into that rhythm and just sort of go and go and go. Eddie looking nice and strong still. Riding the positive buoyancy up to the surface, grabbing nice and high on the line. Nose clip off. Finishing the surface protocol with the OK sign and saying I'm okay. Letting the water out of his ears. And the tag. Everything looking good and clean. Shouldn't see any problems with this dive. Should be seeing a white card momentarily. And there it is. Cool. Nice and easy white card. Well done, Eddie. Very nice. I'd like to take a moment to shout out to our sponsors. We have Atmos, we have Double K, we have the Paradise Hotel, and we have the Mayan Princess Resort. I also want to give a huge shout out to our local organizer here, Roatan Freediving. If you're ever in Roatan, definitely check them out. They have a beautiful setup. This is the one that we're using here. Multiple platforms, really awesome dive line. Really fantastic. Definitely you should come check them out. And the conditions here are absolutely stunning. Again, as we've said before, water is 30 35 meters of visibility. Water temperature is a little colder today at a balmy 28 degrees. Still beautiful and sunny. No current. It's absolutely fantastic. You can see the results from today so far. We also, of note, have Alejandro Linas of Colombia, who had a 100-meter dive and set a new national record for Colombia. It was 11 meters deeper than the previous national record set by John Munoz of Colombia. Up next we have Jordan Levia Alvarez of Cuba, doing his breathe up. Although we now don't really call it a breathe up anymore, that's more what we call the relaxation phase. We used to call it the breathe up phase because this is the time that divers would take to hyperventilate. Hyperventilate like crazy. And for those who have taken a freediving course or who know, we do not hyperventilate anymore. We do not teach that. We do not encourage that. We don't do that because it is dangerous. What can actually happen when you are hyperventilating is you're not adding more oxygen into your body. What you're doing is you are removing CO2. Turns out our body needs some CO2 to know where to drop off the oxygen to our muscles. So if our CO2 is low, even though there's a bunch of oxygen in the blood, the hemoglobin will not release them, and you can actually black out sooner than you would if you had just breathed normally on the surface. Hyperventilation also increases the heart rate because you're contracting the muscles a lot more, and so it increases the heart rate. So that's why we never see divers hyperventilating anymore, and when any freediver sees somebody hyperventilating, we tell them to stop because it's incredibly dangerous. So if you know anybody who hyperventilates, tell them to stop.
Okay. No.
We see Jordan holding his lanyard above the water with his hand, even though it's attached to his ankle. Divers will do that because the carabiner, the thing that clips onto the line, is heavy. And if you are pulling, sometimes towards the end of the arm pull, you can it sort of will come to where the lanyard is sitting, that carabiner is clipped on. And in the past I've had it where I've scraped my fingers on it, I have got my fingers caught in it, I've gotten wrapped around my lanyard, even with having it on my ankle. So we'll see now that Jordan has started his dive, and with pulling quickly, that lanyard is now far up above him, out of the way of his hands, and he won't have to deal with any kind of issue like that.
20, down!
So all he has to do is focus on the pulling and dive.
30, down!
He's taken his mouth fill at around 30 for the first time. He may top that up again.
40, down!
Without audio, we can't quite hear. But generally, you'll hear a
50, down!
kind of sound of a diver basically moving air past their vocal folds, kept closed.
60, down!
It's important to keep the vocal folds sort of closed and make the noise when you do a mouthfill, because that means your vocal folds are more closed than they would be if you weren't making any noise. By keeping them more closed, it's much easier to snap them shut quickly. Okay.
Coming up.
There we go. Shoving the tag into his hood. and going.
70 up.
By keeping the vocal folds in a more closed position, it's very easy to snap them shut, versus if they're more open, it takes longer, and therefore more air is able to escape back into the lungs again.
50 up.
Okay.
40 up. 30 up. Diver with safety. 20 up.
Okay.
10.
At 10 meters now, being met by all the safeties.
Diver approaching.
Very nice, clean protocol. Looking good. He has the tag. So this will be a white card and a new national record for Cuba. Just waiting.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Getting splashed a little bit. So that's a white card and a new national record for Cuba. Well done, Jordan. Congratulations.
Okay, have a good day.
Beautiful dive. Nice and easy. Something that you may have noticed as Jordan was on his way back up in the final few meters was he started to exhale the air out of his lungs. If you've taken a freediving course before, you know that that's something that you should not do. But in the event that you are diving very deep, 40, 50 plus, and you're having a longer dive time, what happens on your dive is, again, we talked about the mammalian dive response and the peripheral vasoconstriction, where the blood moves from the extremities to the core, and then the blood shift, where the blood will actually flood the lungs and the tissues in your thoracic cavity to make them more rigid and protect you from having any kind of sort of tearing or tissue-related injuries. As a diver dives deeper, that response turns on more hectically and more intensely, which means that as a diver is coming back up again, their lungs are still full of blood, and so that overall volume of air that is now expanding is actually unable to fit in the lungs anymore. And so if a diver doesn't exhale, they can run the risk of having another pressure-related injury where there's now too much pressure and it can, again, hurt the tissues. So we'll see a lot of divers who are diving quite deep exhale a bit on the surface and then take their strong recovery breaths. Very interesting and very, very unique things happening here for divers. Up next we have Teddy Valle of France. 75-meter dive. Announced dive time 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Just as a reminder, if you guys do have any questions that you would like to have answered, please do feel free to post them in the chat. Happy to answer them. And we'll see if we can get another athlete to come up here soon and chat with you guys. Freediving app says it seems lanyard is a little bit short. Prevents full amplitude for one arm. Yeah, that can generally be one of the issues. and is why athletes, as we can see again here with Teddy, will hold on to the carabiner and keep it above them, so when they first begin their pulling, they will begin with it immediately above their body, out of the way. Because the alternative is to let it sink, and if the lanyard is on your leg or on your arm, something that can happen is when you take your first arm pull, you'll pull with your first arm, and then as you reach for the second one, you will come into contact with the carabiner. And that's where the sort of issue will come in, of getting your fingers tangled in it, getting it wrapped around the line, all of that. So we'll see our athletes generally holding their carabiner above the water or on the line, and then that full arm pull, the carabiner is already stuck behind them. The octopus lanyards, which is what Teddy is wearing here, have a slightly lighter carabiner on them, so they tend to float or stay further behind the athlete, whereas I know the Molchanov's brand of lanyard has a heavier carabiner on it. So that one will tend to sink a bit more.
4, 3, 2, 1. Take it up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Freediver, representing France. 75 meters. Dive time. 2, 4, 5. Down.
Taking some time to look at Teddy's technique here.
30, down.
See him grabbing his nose a little bit there. Maybe experiencing a little bit of a nose clip malfunction.
40, down.
One of the things that I learned was, when I first started using a nose clip, was that you need to remove all of the oils from your nose before you actually put the nose clip on. If you don't, the nose can be a little slick and slippery, and then as you continue to apply pressure against the nose clip, it can sort of wiggle its way off. So what divers will do is they will use the string, or like the lanyard attached to the nose clip, to rub the oils away from their nose. I've seen other divers use the inside of their wetsuit, the fabric lined inside of the wetsuit, do that. I have also seen divers use the dive line itself, which is maybe a little gross, but definitely gets the job done.
50, up.
Teddy increasing the amplitude of his arm pulls now.
40, up.
We can see Teddy is wearing not only a neck weight, but also a waist belt with weights on it. That is to counteract the positive buoyancy of his wetsuit and the final breath that he takes in, and any packs that he takes on top of that. Daniel, yes, good question. Sorry, I saw that you had given that question earlier and I forgot to bring it up, so I'm sorry about that. I'll bring it up as soon as Teddy completes his surface protocol and gets his, hopefully, white card. Looked like a nice and easy dive. Totally recovered already. Some divers will wear a weight belt while others won't because they just don't need the extra weight. Other divers prefer to keep the weight all around their neck. That's a white card. Well done for Teddy. Something to consider with weight placement is if it's at the top, the tip of the spear, so to speak, the head will go the body will go where the head, sorry, let me say that one more time. Wherever the head goes, the body follows. So if all of the weight is at the tip of the head, it's more like you are like the bottom of the boat. It's very difficult to tip around, but if the weight is more at the center of mass of the body, it's easier to sort of fall out of position. Okay, so Daniel asks, about the MDR, I read that it's strong in waters colder than 19 degrees Celsius, right? So in that order, is the water in Roatan cooler than 19 Celsius on the bottom? Any thoughts about that? Yes, it's true that the dive response will turn on in cooler waters than in warmer waters. The conditions here, there is no thermocline, especially not at the depths that we're diving at. I think there gets to be one at around 150, 160 meters or something like that. But I mean, it's warm the entire way down for these divers. The dive response does turn on more strongly with colder water temperatures, but it does turn on when the face is submerged. There are receptors along our cheeks, around our face, that can sense that we're in the water, and that's also partially why when a diver has blacked out, they, the safeties will remove the mask, removes the nose clip, and blow across the face. That's sort of reminding the body and letting the body know that we are out of the water now, it's okay for us to start breathing. So yes, so the MDR does turn on more quickly and more strongly in colder waters, but it still does turn on in water in general. Let's see, there was another question in here that I saw. Yes, big France team here. I believe we have 10 French athletes along with their coach. So big team, big representation here for sure. The Draconian Mermaid says, any advice for someone who is recently qualified in AIDA 2 and is becoming interested in competing? Yes, go compete. You don't need to come to a World Championship event to compete. There are tons of competitions all over the world, both locally and internationally. What you can do is you can go onto the AIDA website and you can actually look for any upcoming events. If there are any in your area, sign up for them, go to them. I would say don't go with any big expectations. Just go for your first comp to have fun. Competitions are such a cool experience, as we were talking about with Alejandro and Michael earlier. You meet so many amazing, fun, and cool people that have so much knowledge and information that they're freely giving out. The community is so encouraging and thoughtful and helpful. And by going to a competition, you get to experience that really in full force. Something that I really love about the community. So yeah, if you want to go to a competition, go to a competition. They're a lot of fun. Definitely recommend getting into one.
1 minute.
The other thing that you can do is you can ask around with whoever you took your freediving course with. Generally, a community will sort of spring up around instructors as they have trained numerous people. So getting involved with those that have already been certified means that you have divers who know how to rescue you if necessary, they know how to safety you. And you know that you can trust them in terms of that because they've received their certifications.
20.
Let's see. What other questions did you guys have for me? Waleed is the best. Cheer for him from Mexico too. Awesome, yes. Waleed is an incredible diver.
3, 2, 1. Take your cup. First one.
Up next we have Nadav Khan of Israel. 93 meter announced.
8, 9, 10.
Nadav is here all the way from Tel Aviv. His personal best is 70 meters in this discipline. He has announced 73. Divers are allowed to announce up to 5 meters deeper than their personal best in competition. which is what he's done here.
Down.
Nice speed here.
30 seconds.
You can see he's taken a mouthfill at 25 meters. He will probably end up topping that up. So look for maybe a little bit of movement. I think that may have just been it there.
45 seconds.
It's a shame we don't have audio because you would definitely be able to hear all of the top-ups and the grouper calls. Sorry, not grouper calls, the mouth fills.
50 down.
You can see his free fall position is very relaxed with his legs slightly separated. He does have his hands quite close to his legs, gently touching. Again, each diver is different, and so they can decide if they want to be more streamlined and go faster but use more energy, or be more relaxed and sacrifice a bit of that speed and efficiency.
70 up.
Again, small movements at the bottom.
145. 60 up. 50 up.
See the tag shoved in his hood.
40 up.
I believe we can see some air escaping out through his nose as well. Maybe not. I do have a bit of glare on my screen.
20 up.
Okay, looks like there's a little bit of air escaping through his nose. That is... Oh yeah, because his nose clip is off, of course. So yes, so as we said before, as the air expands in the lungs, with divers being that deep, their lungs are still engorged with blood as they're coming up. And so some divers will take off their nose clip and allow the air to freely flow out of their nose as it expands. Beautiful dive there. And that is a white card for Nadav. Congratulations. Absolutely beautiful. Love to see it. Neil Harrison asks, what is the age range of the athletes? We have athletes ranging from, I believe Michael Coe is 21, maybe 22. He's definitely one of the younger divers here. And then we have, actually I believe it is Carson Moore who's up next at 60 years old. And I believe that is the general age range that we have here. Fiorella asks, what does it feel like free falling? Probably one of the best feelings in the world. It's like you are weightless and like flying, but none of the really none of the feeling that you feel when you're like dropping on a roller coaster. Everything is moving slowly and beautifully and easily. And the other thing with free fall is it comes at a depth, if you're doing it on a full breath hold, it comes at a depth where everything is being quiet and very muffled. It's absolutely fantastic. Thinking back to one of my own personal highlight moments, I was diving in Hawaii a couple of months ago, 6 months ago, with Enchante. and Kristen Kuba and Dan and all of them there. And it was whale breeding season at the time. And so we were out on the boat and we were diving, and I did a few deep dives, and during free fall all I could hear was the whales just doing their thing and moaning and all that, and it was a really beautiful experience to have that along with the free fall feeling of just sort of floating through this alien world that we only get a chance to glimpse in between breaths. It was a very, very beautiful moment for me. So, yeah, if you ever get a chance, take your freediving courses and experience the free fall, because it is an absolute treat to be able to have that. As divers are relaxing on the surface, they... Ooh, actually, even better, let's talk about his hand position. He has his thumb placed down, facing down on the line. As such, that makes it easy for him to begin his first pull. Because if you place your hand with your thumb down, pretend like you're grabbing the line, it feels a little uncomfortable as you're sitting up, right? But if you move it above your head, you can see that it begins to feel more natural as you begin to think of it as pulling down.
Representing Germany, 72 meters.
And so it's a really nice way to begin your first pull, even though it might feel a little uncomfortable sitting on the surface.
20, down. $30, down.
Something that we can note on Christian as well is the placement of the bricks of weight on his waist. They're both at the front of his body, not at the back. Again, we have to consider where the weight is on our body and how that weight will affect and pull on us. If the weight is in back, it will pull the body even further back than it is now. If the weight is more towards the front of the body, it is easier for us to move towards the line and keep ourselves in that position.
Touchdown!
Touching down,
coming up.
Grabbing a tag, and coming back up.
$60, up!
With weighting as well, I know we're doing depth, but in pool, generally you want to keep any waist weights in front of your body too. That is because if you think of a boat, all of the major weight is at the bottom and underwater. If the weight were at the top of the boat, it'd be very easy for it to flip over. Whereas if the weight is at the bottom, it is more stabilizing and will actually keep the boat upright. That's exactly what we want in dynamics as well, is to be able to just keep ourselves from turning and just stay in the same position facing towards the bottom of the pool.
We're approaching.
Okay. He is okay. Has a tag. All right. Very nicely done. Beautiful dive, beautiful dive. That's a white card for Karsten. Cool, we are having a conversation in the chat about Wim Hof and freedivers doing exercises like pranayama. I have my own personal gripes with Wim Hof as a training technique because it is hyperventilation, which is something that we do not do. And I know that the Wim Hof method no longer says you should do it in water, which is good because it is not safe to do in water. But I wouldn't necessarily consider it any kind of training for freediving. Pranayama is more akin to training. It is a breathing technique. Something that you can look into if you want to work on increasing your breath hold is doing dry training. A lot of people will do CO2 and O2 tables. Personally, I'm not a big fan of those either, partially because I find that having a set time that you either need to hold for or recover for can actually end up being more traumatic than beneficial for training. With freediving and with breath holding in general, it's a very mental sport, right? And with the mental side of things, it's very easy to have training sessions where you may have a bad time, and that can actually scar your experience. It can make it harder for you in the future to want to do training or enjoy training. An example of that would be something where you are doing a CO2 table or an O2 table where you need to hold for a certain period of time. And you start your breath hold and you're feeling okay, and then it kind of starts sucking. And you're like, ugh, I really don't want to keep doing this, but I have to because the dive time, or the breath hold time says I need to. And you keep doing that, and you start to continue to associate this negative feeling with breath hold. And then the next time you sit down to actually do any kind of breath holding, you remember that stress, that tension, that discomfort that you had. And you might be able to push through and say, okay, well, I'm going to do it this time. But as you continue to experience this sort of trauma again and again and again, it gets harder and harder for you to actually enjoy the breath training. So what I do and what I suggest is to find someone who will give you workouts on set departure tables. Set departure tables are a style of training where every 3 minutes or 4 minutes, you start a new breath hold. In that 3-minute chunk of time, you decide how long you hold for and how long you recover for. The main goal of the overall session then is to hold for as long as you can within that interval, while also giving yourself enough time to recover for the next one, without having wild swings in your time. So for example, you would want to, for a 3-minute interval table, have 2.5 minutes where you hold your breath and then 30 seconds to recover every single time. Do a 245 and then have 15 seconds of recovery. But doing tables like that allows you not only to sort of experience the feeling of diving, or not diving, of the breath hold and your enjoyment of it, but also means that you are never really pushing into that point of discomfort that can cause that scarring that I was talking about. Little self-plug, my own Patreon, I do breath sessions 3 times a week where I lead people in this style of training. I know Adam Stern has done this in the past as well. It's a great way to get started, and I believe really helps make sure that you don't actually have a bad experience with training. Because if you ask most people what kind of static training they do, they will tell you that they hate their static training. I mean, yeah, even people sitting here on the boat with me are shaking their heads, yes. Yeah, I hate it. Yeah, and I would argue that's because we have started off training incorrectly. I'm happy to go further into that at a later time. Probably I'll do something on my Instagram channel about that. So make sure you're following me at Brandon Freediver. Happy to chat more about that in the future.
20. Mark Laszlo, representing USA. 70 meters, dive time, 2, 3, 5.
Okay, Mark Laszlo is up now.
Go, Mark.
The other day he did a 65-meter constant weight bifins dive, which was a white card, and is attempting a
20 now.
70-meter dive now.
Seconds. 30 down.
Mark realized that he wanted to start competing after working as a safety during 3 competitions.
40
and wanted to give competing a shot.
45 seconds.
He applied to the U.S. team thinking that he wouldn't even be considered, and yet here he is
50
representing
down.
the U.S. with the rest of his team, Benjamin Zions and Enchante Gallardo.
60 down.
Sorry, and Mark and up.
Touchdown. Coming up.
All right.
60 up.
Yeah, do you want to come join me, Mark? Or Carsten?
50 up.
Where can I sit?
You can sit right here.
The shadow, that's nice.
Yes,
40
we'll give you the
up.
shadow. Carsten Moore joining me now. Congratulations on your dive.
Thank you.
We'll finish watching Mark and then we'll chat about yours.
30 up. Diver with safety.
Mark Laszlo.
Mark Laszlo, the one and only, the mustache himself.
Yeah, he's always humming when he's relaxing.
Ah,
He's a
okay.
hummer.
He's a hummer.
Like a humblebee.
Still looking nice and strong. Strong protocol. Tag. Easy white card. Just waiting for the judge's response. White card. Beautiful.
Nice dive. Nice dive.
Ah. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Hello, how's it going?
Hey, Brendan. I'm fine. Yeah,
Good.
Completely. I'm super stoked. That's such a nice dive. Such a nice dive.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like,
Amazing.
I prepared myself half a year for this event, and like at the end it comes down to 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild how that, you know, you put all this training, all this effort in.
But we're well off actually, because you see the 100-meter dash sprinters, they're preparing for 9 or 10 seconds.
That's true.
Better 9 than 10 if you want to win something.
That's true. That's true. We've got a lot more relaxed thing going. Cool. Remind me again how old you are?
60 only.
60 only. Cool. That's what I thought. And when did you start diving?
Actually, I was diving all my life, but like in a professional way. I decided like 10 years ago to be instructor. Then I did build up the freediving school in El Hierro, the smallest Canary island. And from there I was first. I thought I just teach a little bit, and you know the competition in depth was something like.
Sure.
I was like, this was nothing for me. It was for freaks. But then,
Fair.
you know, like being in the water every day, going deeper every day, I was like, I was getting eager then.
Just a taste, just a little taste.
Yeah. Yeah, some years ago I wanted to try it, and I did my greetings to my friends in Apnea Canarias.
They're in the chat cheering you on.
And with their Atlantic Cup, I did my first kind of stage and tried it out, and I was like hooked.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's how it gets us.
But
You
I have
try
to
the
say,
one.
still, like I'm more into nature. Like I love to dive every day and but be around animals, and
Of course.
this is like once a year is a training for me.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, that's something to remember too. Is like, you know, with freediving and with these events, we sort of make it look like, you know, this is all there is to freediving.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to freediving than just diving up and down on a line into the blue.
Yeah, totally. Especially if you give courses. Like in a course, what do you learn? You learn having accomplished a course. You can go photo shooting. You can go spearfishing. You can just be a safer surfer. You can be a safer kayaker.
Yeah.
You can go in competition. If you do competition, you have like 2 associations with a half a dozen of disciplines. And
Right. Yeah.
So, the course is really recommendable.
It's something that I've been pounding the drum on this entire comp. Yeah, if you want to go take a freediving, or if you want to get into freediving, take a freediving course.
Yeah.
Learn to do it safely. Learn to do it with an expert who can actually certify you and who can tell you how to do things correctly.
Yeah.
Correct your technique as well. Make sure you're properly weighted. All of those things are super important and makes the sport and the activity safer.
Yeah, totally.
So important.
Yeah, there's so many people coming in, like mostly spearfishers, I have to say, who think they know. And I was like this. I was like diving like 40 years on my own, like hyperventilating and doing everything wrong I could.
Yes, exactly. Well, and that's the thing that I mean, myself as an instructor as well, and a lot of other instructors that I know, the Spiros are the ones that they come in and they have the drive, they have the power, but I mean, sort of like reprogramming these things that they've done for so long to make it more safe and everything is sort of the biggest challenge. But I mean, it's also really amazing that we're seeing a lot of Spiros coming in and who are wanting to learn, who are wanting to improve their technique, correct their technique, and also dive more safely. It's really, really awesome to see.
And they all take their advantage of the courses. All.
Exactly. Exactly. Very important. Cool.
So next diver.
Up next we have Dominic Krzyzewski.
Oh, nice.
Krzyzewski?
Yeah.
I believe, yes.
I met him in Lanzarote on a competition.
Okay.
Very nice guy.
Super nice guy. Yeah, I met him. Yeah, I was walking through the airport in Houston, and he tapped on my shoulder and was like, "Brandon." I was like, "Oh God, hi." He's like, I'd just woken up from sleeping on a bench for like 6 hours, and I was tired, going to brush my teeth in the bathroom, and I was like, "Oh wait, who are you?" He's like, "I'm Dom." And he'd been messaging me during my last competition, and we were talking, and he's such a nice guy. This is his first competition, and he's here just to kind of have fun, try it out, and see.
Yeah, totally. But he's so motivated.
Super motivated.
So nice to see. He's completely into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Also doing a 68-meter dive, which is nothing to turn your nose up at either.
I mean, like a 68-meter dive is a 28 stories or floor building. So you're pulling down 30 floors and pulling up 30 floors.
Right. I mean, you know, we lose a lot of context of how deep this is.
So for the visitors, next time you see a 30-floor building, you know what this guy's doing there.
Exactly, yeah. Right. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, and the pressure down there is like 78 bars.
Yeah.
It's like all 4 car tires.
Right, right.
Shoved,
shoved in there, yeah. Oop, we're seeing a little bit of coming out of... thinking about an early turn there. As I always say, if you feel like you need to early turn, that's a good enough reason.
50 up.
There's no reason to try and push past that.
It's always better than try sometimes. I always say it's like a psycho hamstring. If you push over the point where you feel uncomfortable, it's like you can come up and you can pretend to be it was a cool dive and I had a little bit problem.
Right.
But this will, if you're really honest to yourself, it follows you.
It does.
Weeks sometimes.
That's exactly what I was saying too about the training as well. Is having these the mental associations with feelings in your body. The next time you begin to feel them, or the next time you know you're going to get to that point where you feel them again, that becomes a scar.
Yeah, it's a scar. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
And it takes time to heal those. Yeah. But it's better to not have those scars in the first place, which means if you want to early turn, you early turn.
It's like you push a kid into the water. And it's afraid of water then, and this is what you do to yourself.
Exactly. Okay.
It's a yellow then, right?
That'll be a yellow card, which means he will get partial points for the depth that he dove, but he will not receive the total points that he would have gotten if it were a white card. We heard him asking if he could touch his face. One of the rules with AIDA is that you are allowed only one face wipe before the judge gives their decision.
I did find this out here. I didn't know because I'm a face wiper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and being on Divine, being streamed online, you're like, you don't want to have anything heinous hanging out of your nose. You're just like, oh God, I want to, wipe my face. But according to the judges, if you do more than one face wipe before the before the card is given, that is a red card disqualification. So Dom was waiting for the ability to wipe his face.
Yeah, totally.
And definitely appreciate that he wanted to make sure on that. Let's see.
Can I say hello to my
please,
grandchildren? Hi, Nico. Hi, Robin. OP's back again.
Let's see. Neil Harrison says, when I searched for my dad Carson in the swimming pool, I had to look underwater as a child. Laura said that.
My daughter.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I find that a lot of divers got started. Like one of their first memories of diving is holding their breath in a pool, or like trying to dive down for a coin at the bottom or something.
I mean, this is what we do. Our coin or a little stone we would have picked up in a pool or in a quarry. It's like
exactly.
It's our tags here.
Yeah, now it's a tag.
It's a kid's game, actually.
It is a kid's game, exactly. And that's I think the important part about this, about being a good competitor, is that you need to have fun doing it.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun, you can push and you can do the sport, but you're not going to have the same outcomes and the same...
Maybe you have the same results in meters, but you don't have the same result for yourself.
Right, internally.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah. Let's see, there is another... let's see... Hi, Poppy, well done. We are so proud of you. Let's see... Hola, dear friend. Alemania, Hohenbrunn are watching.
Who? I can't read without my glasses.
Okay. Very impressed. Old farts from far away. Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Old dudes rock.
Exactly. And I was gonna ask, because I mean, a lot of the deeper records are owned by guys who are a bit older, or athletes who are a bit older. Do you think? I mean, for me, I find that there's a lot of physicality to the sport, but also a lot of mental training to the sport. Do you think that having the experience and like so much experience actually improves your overall dive, like mentally, and having the number of dives that you've done?
So I'm a mental trainer too, and I always, I always want to put it right. You're like, I have a lot of people who come and they think my USP is a little bit the meditation stuff. But you don't learn diving by meditating. So
right.
It's a sport.
It is a sport.
At the end, it's a sport, and the mental and meditative part, the better you know, the better platform you have to dive. The better it's the better base. It's the better base.
Exactly.
But you can't just visualize your dive and go down. I mean,
right.
You need to strengthen your arms and your legs. You need the comfort to hold your breath. You need your nervous system needs to adapt. So this is all you learn in the water, but it's a great help because this is the great thing I love about freediving. It's the mental aspect, because I don't know, being an American in South Africa, you're a surfer?
I'm not a surfer.
But maybe skier or tennis player.
Sure.
Like in all the other sports we have out there, all the other sports, you get into the flow in the activity. Like you surf and you forget about your job, the empty fridge, the nagging children,
right.
or whatsoever. You play tennis and you focus on the ball, blah, 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 blah. You get into flow feeling. And freediving is just the opposite. You need to be there in the line. You need to be in the flow, and then you have a dive, and then you have a good dive.
Yes.
And there's nothing faster in the world, like even in meditation techniques, that mirrors you, that you're not in yourself, than freediving. Because the aspect of breath hold makes you turn earlier, makes you feel uncomfortable.
That's absolutely right, and that's such an important piece of wisdom there.
Yeah, we first have to be in the flow and then dive, and then the dive is maybe a catalyst of your internal state. But you first have to be in the flow, and that's what fascinates me totally.
Completely. We'll have to talk about this more. Matti Roatan of Finland announced 68. Currently holds the national record in bifins, I believe at 71. Let me quickly check my notes here.
20 down!
Matti.
71 he did in bifins, yeah, he just did the record.
Yes, just did the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, placed it 1 meter more at 71 meters 2 days ago.
30 down!
John, if you want to see the rest of the start list, you can follow me on Instagram at Brandon Freediver or on AIDA International website. Sorry, not website. The AIDA Freediving Instagram account. Both are posted there. Mine is in my story.
1 minute.
And we see Matti is wearing a mask. Can you tell us a little bit about the sort of extra things that you need to consider when wearing a low-volume mask when diving?
Yeah, we take off the mask usually when we dive deep, because you have to equalize the mask. Otherwise, like every snorkeler knows, it sucks in, and actually when you're so deep, it could literally pop out your eyes.
Right.
But I guess Matti is hands-free. And hands-free means he does not even pinch his nose, so he's equalizing his ears by technique, like lifting the soft palate a little bit up, and opening the eustachian tubes.
60 up.
And yeah, it's still he has to equalize the mask.
Right, and I think that's what makes this even more impressive, is that he's doing it hands-free, because that means he also needs to put enough air into the sinus cavity to be able to equalize the ears, while also knowing that air is also going to immediately get moved into the mask as well. So he's playing a very finely tuned game with his soft palate there.
I mean, this is the ultimate technique he has there.
Yeah.
I really envy him, because I would love to see more down there.
I know. Yeah, no, it's
so
really
much,
cool.
It's so much nicer. All my friends ask me, "What's the sense about your diving?" You close your eyes,
you can't even see what's going on.
I can't see anything.
Yeah.
But this is just for deep diving. Normally, I of course wear a mask.
Of course, yeah.
But it's amazing how the eyes get adapted to it.
Definitely.
Diver approaching.
Okay. Matti is up. Removing his facial equipment. Nice surface protocol. Should be a white card. I don't see why it wouldn't be. And that's a white card. Very nicely done, Maddie.
Beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful dive.
He's a wonder. I mean, he comes half an hour early to the check-in, all dressed with his black suit on this hot beach there.
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's crazy. And then he's on one of the hammocks there, or on the
beach, yeah.
The beach mats.
Yeah, okay.
And he's there with a black suit in the sun, and maybe he brought so much ice in himself for Finland.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he is Finnish, so he knows how to handle a sauna.
Ice bones.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Wow. No, he's a fascinating and unique human being for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He's the opposite of Wim Hof, I guess.
Yeah.
He can stand amazing heat.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, we have a question in the chat. Daniel Bassetta asks, how do the athletes have daily trainings and distances more than 40 meters without the safety team drone camera that's watching them on AIDA, or during the competition? I think the question being, how do divers train when we don't have a big dive camera or a big sort of safety team?
Yeah, I mean the dive camera is more for TV.
Definitely.
Actually, you don't need that because, and you can maybe with the dive camera you can release the counterweight earlier.
Right.
But we train in groups. Never ever free dive alone. It's like rule number one.
That is rule number one.
We dive in groups, and we always have the chance, if we go deeper, that we have our own backup, counterweight system. And the body goes down anyway to 20, 30 meters if we come up from deep dives.
Right.
And it's not that we go like 70 meters every day. It's
That's
like
true.
we do this once every 3 months, I would say.
Sure. Yeah.
So the normal training phase is like, you do a base training, then you get more specific, you get a little bit deeper, and just in the last 2 weeks, you want to know.
Right. And you're talking about periodization there, which is a technique or a sort of a training style where you build your base first with high volume, low intensity training, switch to medium interval training, medium intensity stuff, and sort of refine that technique that you've sort of built on, and then you move to the deep training that we're talking about, actually diving deep, peaking, and then taking a little bit of a rest, and then going to the competition season. That's something that a lot of divers will, especially at this level, will incorporate and work with a coach on, and not only doing with their diving, but also with their strength training.
Yeah, totally. Like in the base training, you're more in the gym than in the water. And then the specific training, you get more and more closer to the dive times, to the depths, to the distances you want to do, and then in the peaking is what we do basically in the line, and this is the last 2-3 weeks maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, and so a lot of divers, when they are doing their training, they're, like you said, training with a safety, and depending on what they're doing in their training, either they're diving shallow, they're working on their equalization, doing FRC or RV dives, and then they're doing more sort of out of the water training type stuff, or working on technique as well.
And also this explains why we're so emotional about our dives, because we don't have so much chances. It's like you can't go like 5 times a day, 70, 80, 90 meters. It's impossible. The body can't take it.
Body cannot take it.
So even in the peaking phase, you maybe do 3, 4, 5 of these dives, and then you have the competition. So you have maybe 3, 4, 5 rehearsals to the depth you're going, if so much,
right?
So many.
If you're lucky,
if you're lucky, and therefore it's like, you try it, and if it works, you're like,
sweet, we did
excited.
it. Yes. No, exactly. Cool. We have Tommy Passanen, also of Finland, up next. 62 meters announced depth. Let's see. Yeah, Maddie, Tommy, Janita, Miro, who's coming up next, all part of the Finnish team, all part of the crew that generally does their training in cold lakes, sometimes under ice, with the pop-up sauna on the surface. So, most importantly,
They do. Oh,
yeah,
really?
They absolutely do.
I didn't know.
Yeah, they come prepared. Even yeah, no, it's a very interesting and awesome kind of thing that they do. They've invited me to come to Finland to give it a try. I am partially Finnish.
Oh, you are?
I think I'm like 25% Finnish or something.
All right.
30 down.
I hate the cold water.
At 75%.
That's, yeah, right. The rest of the 75%, you know, is a tropical being.
40 down.
Nice streamlined technique here. Chin nice and tucked in. We see the neck weight
50
resting
down.
gently on his chin. Sometimes we can find that the neck weight resting there can sort of irritate the throat and can sometimes lead to athletes losing their mouthful.
60 down.
That's why I have the open one here.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you have the new alchemy one.
Mm-hmm.
60 up.
Also the other one, the French, is also good because it's open, just has a little strap here.
Yes, that's right.
So I like at the end I like to tuck in
50
and
up.
therefore it's nice to have it open.
Okay, yeah. Tommy is on his way up. You can see he has a lanyard attached to his waist using a CNF lanyard. We never attach a lanyard to a weight belt.
Diver with safety.
That is very dangerous to do in the event of needing to recover a body. Pulling on one of those rubber weight belts.
Yeah, they will pop.
They will pop, they will come off, and then that is not good to be detached from the line while you are blacked out.
I don't like to have it. I mean, it's so much nicer to have it on the belt because your limbs are free.
Exactly.
But in the case that something happens, you're so much slower. It's so much slower to recover someone with a counterweight because all the body hangs over.
Right.
And you're dragged on your belt line.
Exactly. Exactly.
This can cost seconds.
It can.
Many seconds.
Yeah, and that's...
I heard it's like 50% or 30% slower to recover someone.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're recovering someone from quite deep...
Like here, I guess.
Exactly, on your wrist.
You streamlined on the counterweight going up then, but bend over.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this should... Yep, there we go. White card for Tommy. Very easy dive for him. Very nicely done. Another one in the book for Team Finland.
How many do we have left?
I believe we have 2 divers left. We have Mark Enop of the US and Miro Swampera, also of Finland. I was informed that Mark is intentionally going to do constant weight no fins today. The divers don't have any sort of training on the platform beyond what they do diving. I believe Mark got here a bit late and didn't have enough time on the platform to dive and try the setup. So he's going to intentionally disqualify himself by doing constant weight no fins the entire way down and back, just more as a warm-up.
Thanks, Mark, for the spaghetti place recommendation yesterday. It was awesome.
Where did you go?
To the Drunken Sailor.
Oh, okay. Okay, where is that on the...
It's just on the strip here.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. I will check that out. That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, so it actually looks like we have a DNS for Mark. So that means he will not start. So that means we have a little bit of time to go to the comments again. Let's see. Greetings from B's son. Very proud of his dad and thanks him for being the best teacher.
The next guy is DNS. Yeah, he was just lately doing the AIDA 1, 2, 3, 4 with me.
Ah, okay.
He's amazing. Hi, CV. Because he visited me and he was never, whole family was surfing. He was not, he can't surf. He was not so much into it, and he's not so much into water sports. And then he said, okay, I want to try it out once.
Yeah.
And then like from the first day, hooked.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
And then he's hands free, He was going down like after 2 months training to 40 meters hands-free. And I was like, when I did see it the first time, I was at the buoy and I was following. I like, son, put
You
your
need
hands
to
on the
equalize.
equalize. And he was just going up and I was like, didn't that hurt? No.
Rude. So rude.
Yeah.
Us mortals have to work hard to learn how to no hands.
I can do it a little bit, but not all the way down.
Right, yeah. I can do it all day dry, but as soon as I get in the water, I'm like 1.5 meters down, done. Can't do it.
I have something that nobody could explain yet. It's like I can go down first 2 dives,
Okay.
hands free. Like I do not even hear something. It just equalizes. And it's
Yeah.
easy. But after the second dive, it's away. So then the tubes close, and then I.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting. I thought you have the answer for that. I asked so many people here in the scene. Everybody says no, this can't be.
Yeah.
You're
that's
always or never.
interesting. Huh. I mean, I can ask around for you if you want me to. I'd probably ask Adam Stern. He's constantly teaching people, constantly doing all kinds of stuff.
I followed his course for hands-free actually.
Yes. Yeah, the ones online.
Yeah. It's very nice. It's like it's like everything. It's just everything in there. You can
everything that you need to get started.
I advanced, but I can't do it all the way down.
Okay.
Maybe it comes like the last 2 days because I lost a little bit my mouth because I had some stomach problems and a lot of gas in it.
Sure.
And I realized that past 70 meters, it opened again.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm hoping.
Hoping that maybe
it comes.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too, is like it comes with repetition and with practice, and after, it's one of those things. Like sometimes it just takes time to then suddenly click, and then you've got it. Yeah. So, as an instructor, what do you think the biggest thing? What do you think the biggest reason is for people? Maybe getting stuck at depth. Like stuck for. Is that what I want to ask? Maybe not. Rather, okay. What is the thing that you enjoy most about teaching? Because I have my own things, but I always like to listen to what other people have to say about why they enjoy teaching and coaching.
It gives me so much because it's just an intimate relation. Because there's a customer who doesn't know you at all, and he's stupid enough to give all his health and his life into your hands. He's trusting you completely, and this is something that fascinates me. That people trust me, and that I can accompany them. And I actually, for me, be it an AIDA 1 or AIDA 4, someone who wants to train depth with me. Is like for me, every single human being is at his limits. The AIDA 1 is like, whoa, the water,
right?
And the AIDA 4 is like, oh, the mouthful, and the later ones, like everybody has his issues, and everybody is at his limits. A human being at his limits always has the same reactions: nervosity, like feeling comfy, and and helping people going into the next step, into the next level, or into the next depth. This therefore it doesn't matter whether you have a newbie to the sport or a pro you can help in the next
sure
level.
Right.
And this is what I love teaching, just to help people
just that little bit more.
Yeah.
Completely. That's the exact same reason why I love teaching too. Is it's so nice to have those deep connections with somebody and help them experience and understand what their body is capable of, and get them to be just a little bit more and know that it's going to be okay. It's really, really cool. I really enjoy it. Are you an instructor trainer as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the instructors out there, what do you think the biggest and most important thing is for an instructor to do, aside from teach the content well?
I would say actually to learn a lot, which in the first place has nothing to do with freediving, is a mindful, empathic communication. So I see a lot of good people out there, like wonderful divers, machines, máquinas, like we say in Spain.
Yeah.
Machines, bichos. But they're lacking patience, and they take it personally if if somebody can't do what they're teaching and get, even if it's a passive aggressivity,
Sure.
it's not helping. It's not helping your student. So I would really recommend everybody who has the chance, who is into teaching, no matter with freediving or something, get into all kind of empathic communications and nonviolent communication stuff, in didactic systems, how to help people to the next level. Because being an instructor, you can dive at least 40 meters. You have all the skills. But being an instructor, you have the responsibility to transmit the skills to your students.
Exactly right.
And this is what we have to work on. And the AIDA system is quite good in that. But I see a lot of potential.
Always room for growth, you know? Yeah, I think that's very true. Like, it's you see a lot of instructors that, like you said, take it very, very personally when a diver can't equalize or something, or for example, an instructor who has never struggled with any kind of frenzel issues, suddenly having a student who can't frenzel. It's like, well, just stick your tongue up the earth and just pump your larynx. Why aren't you doing it? And it can, as an instructor, it can be quite frustrating. But at the same time, too, it's so important to have that empathy and to know that, you know, over the course of a 2-day training, course, it sometimes takes people a very long time to get a good grasp of all of the different moving pieces. You know, opening the soft palate, closing the glottis, putting the tongue in the right position, being able to pump it all in the right movement. It takes some time, and it's very important to not let your ego get wrapped up in, I need all of my students to, pass all their requirements on the first day. Which is partially why I'm also not a huge fan of requirements in general, because it sort of forces an athlete or a diver to push to a point where they may not be ready for. And I mean, I definitely understand the reason behind them, but does AIDA let you, how long does a student have to submit their requirements? Like, do they have to do it on the...
No, it's a year.
It's a year, okay,
it's
right.
1 year.
That's what I really like about it, is that, you can have up to a year to actually complete all of these requirements. You don't need to do them on the day. And it's far safer that way. You actually have the time to implement the tools, the things that you've learned in the course.
And you learn it, this is an important message to all the students, you learn in the pause, not in the water.
Exactly.
The water gives you the kick in the nervous system, but the nervous system has to settle down, and you learn in the process. Like we pros, we don't learn the deep dives. Of course, we go deep, but it settles it integrates in the system in the process.
Exactly. In the recovery, in the healing.
Not too much pause, but always a day or two in between the course sessions is the best.
Completely agree. Yeah, and that's often what I find too. Is it takes time for it to all settle in, to realize and feel movements and see them in your mind after feeling them. It takes time to settle in, but once you let it settle in, you see the growth, you see the improvement, and it's awesome to see and to experience and to feel. Yeah, I love it. It's really, really cool.
Oh, another. Sorry.
Yeah, no, please.
Another second advice to instructors is be empathic and be honest to yourself. Because you mentioned just the equalization.
Right.
I have so many students coming. They say, my last instructor did say I'm not relaxed enough, or I can't pass these depths because I'm not relaxed enough. But what did he say? What did he say? What is the solution? It's easy to say, it's your fault, you're not relaxed enough. But I need the solution, to tell the solution being an instructor. And to be honest, to say to the people, I can't help you at the moment, but maybe I know one, or I just go back to call somebody up.
Right.
Or
give them resources.
I'm working on it. I see a lot of pride in the instructors there that they can't answer questions, and then they blame it on the relaxation of the students.
Completely. And that's it's unfair to the students. But yeah, it's important to let go of that ego and know that we're all learning, we're all growing. We haven't learned everything that we're going to until we die. So we're always learning, and being aware of that means that we're always open to new knowledge, new experiences, and makes us a better teacher.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and I love to be a teacher.
Me too. I mean, that's partially why I love these competitions so much, is because I'm always just fully absorbed in like what everyone is doing, and it's such a cool experience. Okay, our final diver is Miro Suompera of Finland, once again. 46-meter attempt.
Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Miro Suompera from Finland.
Freediving app, the hands-free course is by Adam Stern on the Freediving Family website.
0.
Okay, so I'm playing the final countdown in the background.
20 down.
It's a lot of movement in the legs.
Yeah, he's moving quite a bit.
30 down.
Looks like he's struggling a little with the conversation.
Yeah, he might be struggling with EQ a little bit. I know the other day when he attempted his bifins technique, he did swallow his mouthful, so he had an early turn on that day. But he looks to be...
He makes it.
It looks like he's doing okay here now.
Nice.
Hands down.
Whoop.
Whoops.
Apnea boy.
It was a massive touchdown.
Massive touchdown. Making sure that we all know that he made it.
Actually a detonation.
Yeah. Still looking good.
150. 30 up. Diver with safety. 30.
Safety 1 with him in the water.
20 up.
Letting us know he is A-OK.
Diver approaching.
Okay. Miro is up. Looking fine. And now we wait for the judge's call. There is a tag.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And white card for Miro.
Thank you.
Very nicely done. Beautiful dives. Beautiful diving all around today.
Yeah, totally. Massive dives in the first session.
Oh, huge dives. Huge dives.
I got nervous yesterday when I did see the start list.
I know, man. Yeah, I mean, Walid doing 116, Abdel doing 109, Alejandro.
This is, by the way, Abdel's pant.
You wearing his pants?
Because he felt sorry that I lost my pants. This is why.
That's right. Yeah, you lost your pants.
People ask me why do I dive with the shorts and beautiful legs.
Beautiful legs. You got to show them off.
Legs, but it's so much drag, so much water resistance with the skin.
Yeah, right.
So Abdel gave me his pants today. So nice. I gold medalist pants on today.
Nice. That's something to definitely.
At least the pants will be soon down at 100 meters.
Exactly. So basically, you've been down to 100 meters, and you've done it already since you're wearing his pants.
They're brand new. He did not even wear them himself. So
wow.
Can you imagine this guy?
Okay, so you got to christen his pants.
That's beautiful, huh?
Nice.
His brand new pants he needs for CNF tomorrow. The
next day.
The next day. He just gave it to me.
Abdel is such a sweetheart. He's the nicest human being.
I was really reconsidering, would I give my top equipment for the event I was training for a year to someone else that he has equipment? This is like the Saint Martin story.
Basically, yeah.
Giving your coats to the man who's freezing.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, cool. Right. Okay, well that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining. Do you want to shout out to anybody? Do you have any social media you want to shout out to?
Just to the Swarm, I did a crowdfunding to finance this event here for me, that I could come and close down my school a little bit, or for the teacher.
Okay.
So, big shout out to the Swarm, to the Cabildo of El Hierro, to Hotel Ida Ines, and to my entire family.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been a huge pleasure. Make sure you're following all of us on Instagram, AIDA Freediving, myself at Brandon Freediving. See you later. Congratulations. We are going to be posting the link to tomorrow's event very soon, so make sure you stick around, set a notification to make sure that you don't miss it. Big shout out once again to all our sponsors, Atmos, Double K, the Mayan Princess, and the final sponsor? Yes, the Paradise Beach Resort. Thank you. It's been a long day. We'll see you guys all tomorrow for the women's CNF. Chat soon. Bye.
Double K is a manufacturer of premium diving equipment in Korea, a vibrant and creative country. At Double K, we focus on constant research to develop innovative and comfortable products to enhance the experience of diving for our customers. We take pride in our cutting-edge and stylish designs, providing a sleek yet professional look whether you're in or out of the water. From wetsuits to fins, masks to equalization tools, Double K has all the freediving accessories you will need. Fall in love with your diving with Double K.
Atmos, inspired by the ocean. Location, speed, direction, altitude, atmosphere. Mission 2 is more than a watch. It follows you wherever you go. On the journey to ageless energy. We won't fear the unknown challenges. We won't hold back our curiosity. Your pulse, your tracks, your wake, the direction and achievement in your life. Distance and breath. Merging with the ocean flow. Our sweat cleansed in the currents. The world gets darker as we descend deeper. But your light will shine through the depth. A variety of color options. Each mission, too, embodies your personality.